Welcome back, everybody, to some more UPL Summer 2021 action. My name is Infernosis, joined here by my great friend, fellow, otherwise known as John, is what I'll be calling him in Game 1 today. A bit of a banger here, John. Chess Club versus Syntex Esports. Really excited to see how these teams will face off.
Yeah, I mean, we know Chess Club, at least the players on there. They're a little bit of a quote unquote pickup team, but they're not playing like one. They're playing pretty damn well, going flawlessly so far, 3-0 on their record in the Rogue division currently. No one's been able to give them any trouble whatsoever, and I have a strange suspicion that that might be the case scenario here on the side of Synthetic or going up against Synthetic Esports because they haven't been doing so well so far. Maybe that could change, but for the roster of Chess Club, they're looking as stacked as ever. Bills, Doc, Pack Rat, Reed Sync, and Mr. B on their main roster. Most of Title's old roster, and those guys were such a damn good team in T3. But on the side of Synthetic, Yotsuba, Flexo, and I believe Hexblade and Candons, I believe that's how you spell the last player's name, which are some people who I can't keep that good of a tab on. In all honesty, Scott, my brain doesn't function all that well, but I surely know a lot of people on the side of Chess Club.
Yeah, I'm also really excited. Unfortunately, we have a player subbing in for Chess Club, so it's going to be Slothy who is going to come in. And there's
He's
going to
pretty
have
good
to
too.
be a round starting down for that. So it should be 1-0 Syntex to start. That's the deficit you have for that. But we're going to jump into the map bans. Johns, I've heard a little bit of info about these map bans ahead of time. I've not been told what it is, but I have been told it's spicy all the way up to the end. Taking a look, it looks to be that way. The fact of the matter is Clubhouse, Oregon, and Consulate, last three that got banned out, which means the last three available were between Oregon, Consulate, and Villa. And unfortunately, Consulate banned out. We're not going to see it, unfortunately so. We're heading to the tried and true Villa, but I know you and I both love this map.
Absolutely. I feel like it's seen a lot more play in recent times. That might be because Clubhouse just is not as strong of a map as it used to be. That used to be one of the main three maps you would go to. The Origin would kind of go to, or the main three for the Trinity would go as Cafe, Oregon, and Clubhouse. And Clubhouse, some of its objective rooms aren't just as good as they used to be, especially when Maverick gets banned a majority of the time nowadays, or is actually in play nowadays, I should say. Habana normally picks up that ban instead. So that's kind of why you see Villa a lot more. But honestly, I'm not going to complain. Villa is one of my favorite maps. It's really strong for that roam game. There's a lot of rotations you can do. The best way that I like to describe Villa, it's everything that Cafe Dostoyevsky should be.
Yeah, I'm really
It's a
looking
little bit.
forward to what this map has to say. Obviously, with a one run down in favor of Syntex, Cheslub's going to have a bit of an uphill battle forward, but they haven't really had any trouble so far in this one. Chess Club is a team that's unbelievably dominant. And yes, while they will be a player down, it's not that bad. The first round will be a grenade lobby fest, so they're going to be removing themselves in that sort of manner, kind of getting rid of themselves, getting rid of that round, and then unfortunately, their stat sheet will show that one death, but that first round will go to Syntex, as is their favored. But I think we're almost ready to jump into that one. I get a little bit of an insight here from production. They can tell us if it is, and then if it is, we'll be able to jump right into it. I'm really interested to see what the ban phase is going to be here on Villa, because Thatcher is a ban that is just not necessary on this map, in my opinion, but yet still is banned by a lot of T4 and T3 teams.
I feel like it doesn't need to be a ban, but it's definitely a very favorable one, even on Villa. I mean, maps like Clubhouse, it's kind of a guaranteed at that point, unless you want to go for a Habana and Maverick ban, which is always spicy because it allows for that ban and tricking. But we're already heading into see these bans fold out right in front of our own eyes. I'm still thinking that Thatcher would be banned. I'm pretty positive he's got the biggest ban rate in pretty much anywhere and everywhere just because of how strong he is. But the follow-up ban, that's what I'm going to be looking at. To make that roam game and flank game a little bit easier, or maybe some kind of hard breacher like a Habana or an Ace, which are both very versatile hard breachers. Any of those honestly makes a lot of sense to me. But what are your thoughts?
A secondary ban, Habana, Ace, long hard breaching, like you said, they're pretty important. I've seen Sledges get banned, Giannis get banned, Sophia's get banned. It's interesting to see like what teams want to do, but right now where Zophia's weak, you have to play an Iana. No one really wants to play Ashe anymore. You're not going to see those kind of target bans because there's just not enough to pick from. It's going to have to be the pick to get rid of a long-range hard breach. They're going to go with Hibana. Nothing too shocking in that factor. Now Syntex has their second ban, their defensive ban now. Mira is a good possibility, but they got first ban, so they're going to go for something spicy to force Chess Club on a Mira ban possibly, and it's going to be that Kair, the Electro Claws, to lock down some of the more contested hard breach walls. If it's not going to be this Mira, it'll be a Valkyrie, but I've seen a lot of Valkyries left standing.
And it's going to remain on the board this time around. Mira going to be the final ban of this best of one series. And although she did receive that nerf in recent times, allowing for you to melee her Mira window, there aren't a lot of times where you actually get the option to do that because of the long angles you can make with those Mira windows. So it's better safe than sorry, hence why she's getting banned. But now the roam game can definitely be very strong. But luckily, the fact that Nomad hasn't been banned either, she can be in play. There's definitely some better substitutes you can bring as well if that Nomad does get banned, but that's not going to be the case, hence why Blade is rocking her in the first round. And Flexo is actually going to be bringing in Ashe. We were just talking about her and how she's kind of not fully in the meta, or at least as much in the meta as she used to be, but we're going to be in fact seeing her this evening, Scott.
Very interesting to see. I like the idea of what they're bringing to the table. Obviously, Ashes can still work out, but here's Chess Club. They have to nitro themselves. They have to be removed. It's going to give, of course, Syntex their first round win, which is the necessity because of the sub to come through. Tactical crouching right there at the end to drive the point home. This round goes in favor. Now, Chess Club will actually be able to defend and not have to worry about killing themselves off. We'll probably see the exact same lineup. I don't think too much is going to change. I think they brought it to bring it. I love having a Sledge. I love having Iana. Those two alone just bring everything home for me in terms of R6. They're two of my favorite operators right now. Just having nades and a phenomenal primary weapon, John, entirely changes the pace of the game. I love the fact Sophia has gotten nerfed. I know some people hate that. I'm going to get a lot of flack on Twitter for it, but I absolutely love that Sophia received her nerf. Make way for some other operators, and let's have a lot of variety inside of this game of R6.
I mean, it only really changed what primary weapon you're going to bring on that Zofia. She still played a lot, and her utility is still really good. Now you just rock an LMG, which has little to no recoil. It has a gigantic magazine size. It seems dumb not to bring that LMGE unless you're just super good with that AK in hand, but still not going to be played on this round. Instead, Flexo will be rocking for the Ashe. Probably more of a comfort pick, more or less, but it'll still get the job done well enough. But Chess Club's lineup is looking quite different from round number one, not having to blow themselves up that time around. They're going to opt to bring out the smoke in the hands of ReedSync, and I saw that Tachanka pick being teased, but sadly Snake 6 picked off of it. I'm hoping to see Mr. B on the Tachanka at one point because I know that man is just a killing machine when he brings that Russian operator in his back pocket, but sadly round number one will not show us that, or technically round number one. We are on the second one.
Yeah, a bit of an unfortunate happenstance to come forward with it, but it happens, things can occur. Syntex now one round up, and now they're on the attack. Will they be able to complete the assault they have planned, or will Chess Club completely say, yeah, that one round is just a consolation prize, get ready to get clapped, and we may just see exactly that. It really just depends. The operator lineup for Chess Club is very nice. I really love the choice of bringing the Yokai drone with Mr. B. I love the idea of having a little bit of extra assistance with those toxic babes and Surya gates, just cording off areas. But the first pick to go through, ReedSync with the SMG-11, finds Flexo, and then Ashe we were talking and raving about, no longer a point of contention. Another player down, and they're going to finish him with a toxic babe just to do it. But Krieger lives it by stepping away, but Bills is there to punch a hole and then knock a hole in Krieger's heart.
First two entries favoring Chess Club, a really strong start by them. That roam game not being dealt with properly, and now Syntex Esports, they're in a rough predicament here. There's not much for them left to really do. They got to still clear out that main stairs extension right to their left, and also just try to get some hard destruction down. Currently, not much being really done. They're all just kind of lurking around outside. Sloppy with a nice trade coming in through, but Candez will luckily wrap that up with two of his own, making sure that his team team is still in a fighting chance to win out this technically first round here, but at least Chess Club still have this man advantage, and they have the roamer sitting near bookshelves of Bills currently. So it appears that they're still kind of funneled in currently. Mr. B gets one on a Candens, and then Bills wraps it up in the end. A great starting round for Chess Club.
Yeah, Cadence did their best to keep that one alive, but just could not do enough. One thing I want to point out here, John, is the arsenal that we saw Chess Club bring to the table. Literally nothing but fire, high rate of fire SMGs. I think the only thing we saw that wasn't that was going to be the Yanko, the MP5 SD on Echo, the SMG-11 on Smoke, Roni on a Rooney, the MPX, well, not as fast a fire rate, still a really strong weapon. So it was 3 insanely fast SMGs to be able to fire, and then 2 somewhat mid-range weapons across, but they really seem to prefer those really quick weapons, and those were the people you saw with the most impact. Mr. B had a really good pick that went through. We obviously saw ReadSync at the beginning clean up, and the Roni on our Rooney clean up as well. It was a spectacular performance from Chess Club, and Syntex were really just caught off and didn't really know what to do. The positions that Chess Club were putting forward were just so abstract, or just mismanaged by Syntex attempted assault, that there was nothing they could figure out to win this game or really put this Chess Club in a checkmate.
Yeah, it's honestly a very well-decisive round in that past one. Now we're going to be going to a different site, though. Trophy and statuary in the hands of Chess Club, and with their roam not being dealt with, it definitely wants to have a lot more done for the side of Syntex. They weren't looking that strong on their first official round up against their opponents currently, so that's definitely one thing they're going to have to worry about. Maybe using Cadenz's Iana Geminis to just spot out those players like Snake, for example, a little bit better, and just really not wasting all that much time getting into it here. But that roam is definitely going to be a huge concern, needless to say, and that is how Chess Club got their first 2 entries on their last round, and they might be just running right on into it, as most of Syntex Esports is starting off on that eastern side, probably going to work their way lower up and towards Laundry, where Bills has a nice kill hole just waiting, rotates around, but I don't think that drone actually spotted him. This could be a free frag for him, but shooting it out might have given his position away, or at least his intention, but so far doesn't get spotted out up until now forcing him to rotate, but luckily he's got that backup and the melee hole lighting up Flexos, but he's not going to win out that dual engagements, as from behind the Iana picks up that first entry, but not a second one, as Slothy's still lurking around up and towards Memorial looking for another, but at least he wasted 1 player and still a fair amount of time.
I really like the positions that Syntex are trying to put forward. An okay job by Chess Club so far to try to refrag and put themselves in an even position once again, but Syntex stepping in from pantry below is not a spot that's really highly anticipated, but a pretty okay job by Chess Club to counteract. An insanely nice wallbang right there to actually tag and down Flexo, and Slothy is going to walk around the corner and clean up the job. A spectacular performance right there, John. I don't think either of us anticipated that. I thought Syntex would win that engagement down in pantry and in dining, but that's not how it worked out. Instead, now the only game they'll get is Chaunchi's finding ReadSync. A fight now. Krieger's attempting to take out Mr. B, but they're able to escape just narrowly with their life. Vector in hand, spraying as they enter a need, eaten by an ADS, narrowly avoiding having his head absolutely imploded in the process. Krieger is still looking for an opportunity to find that kill, but Snake now helping to assist inside of Astronomy will make that exceedingly more difficult.
Oh, Nitro being detonated a little too early there, not having the proper intel is going to keep things in that 3-on-3 with no secondary utility but a Claymore that could be used by either side here. But honestly, with no one on any type of flank, it really does seem useless just to bring it out. You've got to win these gunfights head on with just your weaponry at hand here, and not too much time to utilize either. Krieger's still looking for roamers underneath, costing this to be technically a 3-on-2 as Chess Club is just patiently waiting, and they have such good coordination here in this position. They're forcing Syntex just to sit in the background here, just waiting for some kind of mistake to happen. Eventually it does though, as Blade gets one on the Slothy as he's overextending his body a little bit too much there, but the rest of his teammates are still waiting for some kind of push to come in through. Snake watching the top of Astro. It works out for him as he gets one, but can't get another, as Tron Chris is just waiting, and Blade gets the last one on to Mr. Beast. A great push at the very end, but that could have been punished so much easier on the side of Chess Club if it weren't for Slothy dying in those last 30 seconds.
A very nice performance we saw from Syntex to finally take their first official W that was not a given round due to the substitution. What a great performance we saw. I was very shocked, again, like I said, to see Flexo lose that fight in Dining, despite having the initial engagement go in their favor, but a phenomenal whomping downs and then cleaned up by Slothy. It was a great roam by Chess Club, but I think they put too much emphasis in trying to step up through those autonomy steps. John, where do you think the weakness was in Chess Club's defense? What started their initial downturn, and what do you think they could have done to adapt and fix that?
I think their roam game was pretty good. Yeah, they may have lost that player off the bat, but then they traded and in fact got the man advantage back in their favor. What really became the problem was just that minute overextension by Slothy, because every direction was guarded really well. We saw that Valkyria Snake was on the prone play. If they had someone watching behind the table in Astra, that could have been an easy frag on the player in bathroom, and if they both won their one-on-ones, it could have been a 3-versus-1 situation favoring Chess Club. So again, their roam is still top-notch, but in that end game position, they just cannot overextend themselves into the lines of sight of Synthetic Esports, because once that happens, they are going to punish you quite easily.
I think a big issue we saw for Chess Club was in round one, or technically round two, I guess I should say, Chess Club had a great job of playing their normal go-to angles, but doing it in a way that only one person was not, your roamer, which was your Rooney, and it really caught off Syntex off guard, so they had to worry so much about their flank. Yeah, you had Mr. B, who was holding out pretty far, making it a little bit difficult. They had to worry about your Echo, which isn't usually a concern, but they made it a concern, and that allowed for ReedSync to catch the couple players up on main steps and ultimately catch the W, and they weren't really able to do that on this last objective. That's where the biggest problem is. They need to be able to find a way to accomplish that same goal and the same ending on this objective. And for this objective, Statuary and Trophy, it's very difficult. You can't do that style of roam. There is no really great way to play below you. You just need to watch Astronomy Steps. And yeah, they think they just put too much emphasis in that direction, and ultimately it failed them in the process. They got cut off from the knees. It was an Andre that it was a giant moment, right? David and Goliath, except instead of getting hit with a pebble, they just got axed in the leg, and they ultimately were felled in the end, and that was kind of their biggest problem. So congratulations to Syntex. I think if they can replicate that same success, they'll have a good job, but I think they're just putting too much emphasis in a weird way on information right now with the use of bringing in Twitch.
Haven't been able to deal with that roam game. They're just focusing heavily on trying to get that purple wall opened up, but there goes the entry favoring Chess Club here as the first half of the action phase is now over, and a down goes through by ReedSync. He's on very little health, but luckily downing him and getting the finisher with another Nitro Cell in the hands of Snake. Perfect timing and coordination allows him to find another one as well. 5-on-2 in a matter of 20 seconds here, with Syntex back on the back burner here. Things all of a sudden have taken a turn for the worse. Snake picks up a third on the round, looking for a fourth. He'll get halted by that air jab, but not finished off. He allows Mr. B to trade places with them. A flawless round in the end for Chess Club, as they had a perfect transition into their second attempt holding trophy.
Notice how they didn't put as much of an emphasis on the floor below. They really focused on what they were good at, holding their own and keeping themselves tight and coordinated. The chemistry for this roster is immense. Notice how the second one player is down, like we saw, your Mozzie getting fell to the floor, able to escape with some extra assistance. The coordination and chemistry is absolute, and that's something that Syntex is going to have to face off against. Chess Club, even with a player having to sub in, it doesn't seem to be hurting them in the slightest. They still look great, they're catching kills, and they're saving their teammates in spots that it should matter, but they weren't able to save teammates on the floors below, and they weren't able to rotate fast enough. I think that if they just managed to get that roam a little bit more locked in on some of these more strange objectives, maybe the tertiary objective, which we'll have to see maybe next round, not here, because we do know Chess Club can win this objective quite handily. I think the biggest question is going to be, how is Syntex going to assault this? The only time we saw Syntex find success on this objective was stepping in from balcony and coming in through study, where Cadence found 2, and we have not really seen them go any other way successfully. Any attempt they had through the first floor was completely shut down and denied by the combination of Bills and ReedSync. And then Cadence stepped up and was able to find some success, but he was ultimately just thrown away and torn asunder by Mr. B and Bills at the end of the round.
I think with how important the vertical play can be on Villa, I think that Syntex needs to do a much better job on that roam clear, because when they ended up attacking Aviator a couple rounds prior, they kind of they got tossed around by Chess Club. So just better coordination, really utilizing those Gemini drones, those stun grenades, and even fragmentation grenades, as they have 2 sets of them, to then allow for their team, for Flexos in particular, to get that vertical play down and really remove any utility that could be a huge hindrance later on, would really seal the deal. But so far, this clear coming out from the top floor is working wonders as they pick up that entry on towards Slothy. But again, they are not droning out everything to a complete T. Bills striking back with a quick refrag, and now just hops away up into the back Astro stairwell. He's waiting for another peek coming in through by bathroom. That gunfire really just denying any type of audio cue, allowing Bills to pick up a second on this entry, roaming around still, causing a ton of problems for the side of Syntex. And this is exactly what I was talking about, Scott.
Yeah, they're actually managing to find a little bit more success than prior. Luke, notice how the lack of aggression for Bills has really worked out. You had to worry about your player Krieger, who was holding that angle. Yes, Krieger hasn't found any kills, but it doesn't mean it can't happen, and Bills is having to watch both sides now. Krieger can be a menace, having nades ready to toss at a moment's notice. Air jab taken out. Bills, once again, not being aggressive enough just to shoot it and rush upstairs. Instead, taking their time, taking a couple steps back, and then waiting down below even further than they were at prior. An absolutely phenomenal job here from Chess Club, from Bills in this process of this roam, this extended offside angle to just be able to find success, even if they're not finding necessarily kills, but finding success in just better positioning and outplaying their opponent. Snake also now stepping away at a massive angle from that main stairwell and getting away from the rush. Notice the shots that came through and were able to step away despite Chaunchi's attempting to go for the rush down. Has to watch their flank still. Gun not at the ready, and Snake is ready, finding that pick now of 4v2. One more now being damaged. Blades at the end of Classical Hall over by 90. Reedsink finds the kill with the SMG 11. Diffuser now down, and a second to follow suit as Reedsink capitalizes, and another round in favor of this Chess Club roster.
Again, the coordination and just overall better play style by Chess Club is proving to be such a great way to steal some of these rounds here, because Synthetic starting off, or Syntex, I keep saying Synthetic. I'm so sorry that it took me this long to realize that. I need to learn how to read properly. It's always been a problem of mine. Syntex have been starting off some of these rounds with entries, but the fact that they just get refragged instantly because they don't do a full completed job on that roam game, it's really costing them a lot of these rounds, and that's keeping Chess Club up in the lead for the time being. But hopefully on this round, we might see a little bit of a difference here. I know that this roam extension is done quite well for Dining Room and Kitchen. It's a bit of a necessity because of how strong that vertical play can be when you're actually attacking these 2 middle floor objective rooms. But every now and again, you'll see teams on the attacking side just straight up ignoring the roam clear and just try to approach from that living room / library side of the map, get that hard destruction down near Memorial, and just go for a full-fledged push in towards that area. But most of the time, it doesn't really bode well because you're funneling yourself off the bat of a round, and funneling on an attacking round is just, it's never a good idea. You're almost always guaranteed to just get annihilated by the defensive side, especially against a well-versed team such as Chess Club.
Yeah, well-versed and very well-coordinated right now. They're just matching each other on every account. It really does feel like a chess game at this point in time, and I stink at chess, and that's the one thing I can't understand about R6 is the tactics, the strategy behind the macro games that are going on, and it really does feel like a mind game a lot of the times, especially for a team that has a player like Bills, has a player like Reedsink that can be aggressive when they want to, and can absolutely just sweep a team. It's something that a lot of teams go, oh, they're really playing like slow and methodical. We really have to worry about that. But then on the flip of a coin, turn of a dime, they immediately jump to that aggressive stance, and we can already see it right here. Reedsink steps up very nicely into Piano Room, catches off one, and downs Cadence. What the heck are we watching here? Pulls out the shotgun, finishes the job, despite having no retina, still finds so much success. Krieger on the flank will find the kill, but Krieger is at less than 20 HP in the process. So much impact for Reedsink in this round. A spectacular performance.
And I believe it was his teammate that lit him in the process, but so far it's only been Krieger finding trades for his team. The 3-on-2 position now, things have just taken a turn for the worse as we were just witnessing that highlight reel being played for Reedsing, popping off with that massive 2K, and the flank by Mr. B gets one. Great rotation onto him, and another one with the UMP-45. You can't contest the roam game by Chess Club. They'll just simply hit all of their shots. A 4-2 split to their name, and again, masterful performances by them, and that's exactly why they're at the top seat in this Rogue division.
They look spectacular. Everything that they've put together so far has looked and felt clean. If they didn't have to give up that one round at the very beginning, we might have actually seen a 5-1 split. And that's not something that's strange to see. I genuinely feel that a 5-1 split could have been possible. It really just comes down to whether or not Syntex would have been able to be coordinated enough in one more round on the attack if they were able to flesh themselves out enough. And from the looks of the last round alone, I don't think they would have had what it takes. But now flipping it back around, the favored side for basically any map defense, Syntex will finally have the chance to try and, I guess, turtle up and try to withstand the assault that Chess Club is bringing to the table. Looking at their lineup, it's extremely interesting. Bills and Snake going with a try-and-true Ash and Sophia combo. Reedsink's playing that Dokkaebi, maybe hoping the Logic Bomb will be able to find success. Another entry frag kind of player. Slothy's playing the Ayana. The nades are extremely useful, but you already have an Ash and Sophia on your team. And then last but extremely not least, Lion coming through and hoping that E1 Drone will be able to keep some of these Syntex defensive players stuck in their locations and not allowing them to retreat like they would want to when that inevitable 3-man rush of those 3 entry frags come in for Chess Club.
I mean, all 3 of these picks, the Dokkaebi, the Ayana, and a Lion, this just screams for an effective roam clear that could really give Chess Club an early advantage like they've been having most of these rounds that have already been played. If that does occur, Syntex might be in a whole load of trouble, and it's looking to be that possible situation as Chess Club is wasting little to no time already trying to go for the blind fires and looking on that possible roam clear. But wow, what an interesting spot hiding in the plants by Chonchis. I don't know if he'll get spotted out or not by that Gemini drone, but it's almost guaranteed, and there it is. His head is just sticking out like a sore thumb, and there goes the LMGE, forcing him to run away from his current position, goes for a possible C4 toss, and it sadly does not connect. Still that 5-on-5 as Chess Club already has control of 90, and the entry now as Blade goes down by that LMG.
What the heck are we watching here? Chachi's peeking over by Lamp right now towards main stairs. It's just a strange occurrence. A minute in and they have full control of Classic Hall except for Lamp at the end. An extremely strange situation right now that Syntex has to play against. Their off-site angles that they were attempting to hold haven't really favored them. There's Krieger getting caught out by that Lion utility, position given away, and they know that they no longer are sitting in that one spot they were trying to do prior to catch off the push coming in through landing. But ultimately, I think Chess Club really just want to push in through landing and do a little bit of extra effort on towards Classical Hall, but Chachi's denies too. 2 players now for Chess Club out for the count, Mr. B and Bills. The BB combo out, thanks to Chachi's great assistance, but Chess Club not out of it just yet. A 3v4, but definitely not insurmountable. You still have no logic bombs. You two have both your utility for Sophia, and you have a Mark 14 EBR in the hands of Reedsink, which finds so much success. Chachi's head, the avenging kill comes through, and a 3v3 officially underway.
Slothy now working his way into sight. He needs to find this kill on towards Hunting. Wraps around the corner here and still win that gunfight, and he does it eventually. Snake follows suit, remaining all up to Flexos now as he gets one on a Slothy, but in that battle brings him down to 10 health, and the LMG is still being held on the fire key, not letting go of that trigger, and it'll pay off, getting the last player on the side of Syntex. Another round win favoring Chess Club, and my God, Ubisoft, you forgot about the one weapon that could still be used and abused, and it's that damn LMG.
All right, well, I'm calling it right here 1 month from now. Actually, no, because it does take them 13 months to put out an update. 13 months from now, Ubisoft will go ahead and ban 3 more cheaters. Because that's usually what they do. They hold other bans for, maybe 6 months down the line. Maybe one of them being
a false ban as well in that mix.
Yeah, probably all of them being false bans because it's Ubisoft. But they'll ban 3 people, 2 of them false bans, 1 of them a real ban. And then they'll also nerf Zofia again, and they'll nerf they'll nerf Jaeger again, probably just removing the ADSs and giving him a teddy bear to hug. And they're gonna just take it down, so the LMGE has 3 bullets in it total, but each of those bullets does 25 damage.
Oh man.
So it's impossible to kill with a full mag unless you headshot. But she has great utility, so it's fine, right, guys? Like, you know, her pick rate should only be adjusted for pro players, right? It's fine. We're balancing towards the pro scene. We don't care about casual players.
Good.
Yeah, to be fair, I don't think anyone in this environment cares.
You cannot hide from me on your Twitch channel and twitch.tv/Infernosis. You can't hide from me from that.
My only casuals. I literally only play casual. Yeah,
you only. Yeah, you're Yep.
Sorry. I'm only a caster, so that eventually when Ubisoft notices me somehow, I can then just slyly jab at them saying, "Please don't nerf this operator." You know.
Yeah, because your words, they
carry
have,
so much meaning.
Yeah.
They do.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, have you ever heard anyone talk with such like vibrato and it's like Ubisoft has to listen, right? Like
your words have weight to them. That's
yes,
that's the line
yes,
I was trying
emphasis.
to say, but it went out. Yeah, exactly. And the
oh,
LMG still
he only needed 3
it,
shots.
But yeah, apparently, I guess the nerf wouldn't have really mattered. But Flexo's still doing wonders with the SMG-11. A little bit upset that he couldn't clutch that 1v3. Brings it now to a 4-on-4 with just well over 2 minutes left. A miscalculated nade toss comes in through by Slothy as well, but already an okay start, I should say, for Chess Club as they're trying to get control of Study, and they finally do, as Slothy just waltzes in and traps Cadence now in this 4-on-3 position. Nothing much you can really do here, but luckily Blade with a nice common angle will shut him down before he gets any more kills on the round, bringing us now to an even man count.
The even man count is extremely important, especially for Syntex, considering that Chess Club has just been almost walking over them in terms of their assault. Bills finds yet another pick, the C7E coming in clutch against Blade. Now Flexo and Chaunchi's the last 2 standing. Chaunchi's has been the best fragger for Syntex, but I don't think it'll be enough if they can't manage to find a couple more picks like that. Now their Nitro has been consumed. It did help to find that last pick, evening it up to a 2v2, but Chaunchi's going to have to face off against Mr. Beast and ReedSync in the process. And Mr. Beast's got that skill and that money, apparently, so maybe something will happen to have to go forward for a clutch, but in all honesty, Chess Club are still in a pretty good position. They've got 1 minute and 15 seconds left, John, to do absolutely everything they want to. They have a general idea about where Chaunchi's is. Flexo is still a little bit up in the air. They have a generalized location due to the logic bomb, but they can't really act on it just yet. But now they know exactly where it's coming from. They know he's at least able to watch both sides due to those toxic babes, and it's going to put him in a better position. Chaunchi's long shot fire over towards ReedSync, but hiding behind their own shield makes it a little bit more difficult for them to rush forward. Chaunchi's in a firefight, sees one pass, can't get it done. ReedSync steps up with the SMG-12, but it's not enough to take out Chaunchi's in a 1v1. It's Mr. B versus Chaunchi John. A clutch up situation for Chaunchi's if he does not want this to go to match point.
He's got 2 stun grenades here. This could be massive. Flashing out his opponent, just picking up that free frag. And Chaunchi's, like you mentioned, a fraction of health here. And here come the stun grenades. It won't blind him out, though. Still just sitting pretty. It even blinds out Mr. B instead as he's anticipating a prone play towards Couches, but he's sitting up and towards Hunting! What a great shot by Mr. B! Chess Club, they bring us to match point, I believe it to be, and a perfect clutch to be had by the support player himself. What a great performance so far by Chess Club, only needing 1 more to wrap it up here. Can they do it, Scott?
I'm not sure. I think that Chess Club can wrap it up right here, going to trophy and statuary. I think Syntex has realized we're not winning that objective. It's not happening. They're completely dubbing on us, but this is going to be a new attack for Chess Club to figure out what's going to work. So are they just going to continue their dominant reign? This objective is a little bit slower in my opinion. John, I think you may be able to agree. You can't do that same type of aggressive kind of rush through Classical Hall on this map. Yes, you can take control of Classical Hall, but it doesn't have as that much of an important meaning as it does on Plains and Games. This one is the presence on Astronomy, the presence in Master Bedroom, and that's not really the way that Chess Club wants to play. They don't want to bring a breacher for that aspect. They don't like the idea of breaching through Master Bedroom or any wall whatsoever. So in my opinion, they're still just going to go for frags. They're bringing...
Yeah, I know what you're going to say.
Oh, you seeing what I'm seeing here?
Mm-hmm.
Are they? I really hope they're bringing the DMR Supernova. I really hope they're bringing the DMR Supernova. And I say that, and for real, that shotgun is a DMR. So I really hope Bills is bringing
Yeah.
the shotgun. If Bills is not, I'm going to be supremely disappointed.
Especially since Amaru's a bit of a meme pick, I think that he's going to just either rappel into the skull doorway, maybe classic window, as a matter of fact. He has his drone position there, but there's a ton of window spots that you can just run directly into as an Amaru and possibly pick up some free kills. That Astro window in particular as well, but that one's definitely very risky since you have a player sitting behind that table 90% of the time, and I think Bills is deciding where he wants to rush in from, and it's going to be that classic call, that free play drone giving his intentions away, and sadly not having that shotgun. He's got the LMG and also some help with that backup Lion scanner in the background as he just waltzes right through that Syria gate, and he's just knocking on the doorway of this objective room leading in towards Trophy. Only a matter of time before he rushes in, but it's going to be a tag team of Slothy and Snake to get the first frag here. Already an assertive start by Chess Club as they're just collapsing into the bomb site. Slothy, another one, gets traded, but Bills is there with the LMG, and so is Snake from behind. Chess Club, an explosive last round to wrap it up. They stood no chance against that dominating performance by them, and they'll remain flawless in their round counts, or series counts, I should say. Oh, man.
I blinked. John, I blinked. I
And
got
the
a
round
ping.
ended.
I got a ping and I looked over at it and I had to read a message. This happened literally 2 weeks in a row, but this one's worse. I was actually able to catch the end of the last round. I looked over and saw the in-round cam. I had to read a message from some college university joining something, and I had to read the message. I hate having to do that, but Discord go bing, 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 bing.
You know you can mute those, right?
I know. It's so tedious to do so.
It's
my
not.
job.
It
It's
takes
part of my.
three
It's part of my
buttons.
job. All right, yeah, you're right. You're not wrong. But I missed it, and I'm gonna have to look back. I am going to go back and watch that section, and it's going to be so interesting to see just how quickly they devolved. Watching that last round kill cam, I loved the way in the bits and pieces able to piece together, looking back and forth every once in a while, was just how quickly we were able to see Chess Club I guess set themselves up. In chess is a great strategy of spreading your pieces out and then being ready to dive at a moment's notice on any individual opponent's pawns or pieces, and that's exactly what Chess Club kind of looked like they were doing. They spread themselves out, not super thin, but enough to be well coordinated, and I think a lot of that was started obviously with the Amaru coming in through Classical Hall window, taking that very swift approach inside, and it ultimately, they just completely evolved to a stage of R6 that is point-and-click adventure to the next level, and they ultimately were just able to completely frag their way to an ultimate W. So congratulations, Chess Club. A absolutely devastating, complete win for you guys. Syntex will only be able to pick up one complete round. One of them was the giveaway round for you guys having to bring a sub in, but nonetheless, Chess Club, you looked phenomenal. Great victory for you.
And I think that's going to be it for us until match number 2. So we'll go into a short little break, but stick around because there's still going to be plenty of Rainbow Six action happening to a UPL stream near you. So take care. We'll see you in a little while. Welcome back, everyone, for the second matchup for UPL this evening for Rainbow Six. If you're a refresher, my name is Fellow. Also joined here by Infernosis, my favorite and at least most good-looking co-caster, I should say. Anyways, though, got a great matchup. We got a great matchup here for the second one now. InControl Nation and Overture, and we do apologize for that long wait, but apparently we actually might not see any rounds forfeited because of that, due to Overture just saying, nah, fam, we want to play a normal game up against InControl Nation.
Yeah, there would have been a minimum 2 rounds lost because of it. One because of a sub that came through not on the roster, and then also one for not having their bans done in time. And so instead of having those taken care of and be done, they're going to deny any and all attempts at starting off ahead. So apparently they are very confident. Overture is extremely confident in their victory by not accepting those 2 free easy rounds. But we'll jump over to the map bans extremely quickly because this round, while already late, needs to get done and handled. Starting off from the top, you can see InControl. They went Coastline, followed by Oregon, Clubhouse, followed by Cafe, followed by Chalet, unfortunately, then Consulate. And we're going back to the Tried and True Villa. This is the second week in a row with you, John, where we went to Villa twice on the same play day.
Yeah, I mentioned at the beginning of our broadcast today that Villa's just been seeing a lot more play, and that could be for a ton of reasons. One, Villa's just a great map overall, and two, other maps that would normally take priority over Villa are just not as good as they used to be, really. Now with Clubhouse being a lot more difficult to actually defend on most sites, it just it really does over-highlight it now, but since we mentioned that we're a little bit behind on schedule due to some things taking a fair amount of time, we're going to get right into the game almost immediately, which I'm quite happy about. And I'm also very happy with the honor and respect that Overture gave for InControl Nation to actually allow them just to play this game like a normal best of one, despite the round forfeits that should have been going down. So big ups to you guys.
Yeah, big ups. I wouldn't have done it. I'm a terrible person, though. So to be fair, it's not really like it's not a thing. I'll take my W's where I can get them. Okay, like first off, I'm bad enough at R6. I need all the help and assistance I can get.
You're
I could
casual
give them 6
warlord.
rounds. Yeah, I could give them 6 rounds and I would still lose. Right, I could have the best players in the world on my team, and we'd still lose 7 in a row because I'm there being a massive deficit. But first ban to go through, going to be that Thatcher ban. Again, something I don't think is necessary, but just is a normal go-to ban. Habana, an exact replication so far of our last map prior. Now we're just going to get their second ban. Defensive one, good chance for Kaid, good chance for a Valkyrie, I was about to say, and it is going to be that Valkyrie. And then now, Amira could be on the board. That's your usual go-to ban here. Mira's, Kaid's, maybe a Maestro. It just depends, but we'll have to see what InControl Nation really want to put forward on this ban.
Yeah, it depends on what you want to be dealing with as well, or what you want to bring onto the table. And in this case, they actually don't want to have to deal with the Miras, or it could be a very high chance that no one's actually done any strategies involving Mira just because she is such a high ban most of the time. So she'll be on the chopping block this evening, allowing for Electro Claws to be in full play in this best of one series. So I think that will make the hard destruction a little bit more difficult. Obviously, you can still do some nice grenade tricks. You can go underneath with that vertical play, hence why we're probably seeing that Buck in full play by Blade. I think he is actually a very useful operator on the map of Villages because you can get so much shop destruction done from a floor lower rather than just only doing top floor vertical play. So definitely a great pick by Overture Gaming. And overall, this lineup looking top notch on both sides. And I'm a big fan of the 6 pick. I'm going to be honest with you, Scott. I love Flores.
Eat up, Shaka, please.
King.
Eat up,
Yes.
King. Oh, my goodness.
This is what I live for.
I love Flores so much. The first time we ever saw Flores as well was here in UPL. I think I was with Corback at the time. It was in the qualifiers going forward, and Flores had literally just been allowed, and I actually think it was InControl. I may be wrong about that. Whoever it was, they came forward and in the very first round found 2 kills with a Flores drone. 2 with the Rotero. And I just was not expecting it, and apparently neither was the defensive team, and it just completely caught them off guard, and they won that round completely in a landslide victory. Unfortunately, a comeback came through, and they ultimately lost, but it still was a phenomenal game. I'm really hoping Overture can find as much impact with those Rotero drones as we both wish that they can.
In this situation, there isn't a lot that the Rotaro drones can really do except just flush out the roamers, but that's still a lot. And you also have those flash grenades as well. There's a lot of utility that the Flores can bring out, not even with just his Rotaro drones, which is an absurd amount. But we're not going to see that skeleton key in use, and we're no longer to be seeing Indian play either, as a quick trade comes back and forth between these two teams off the bat. A very quick start to the frag fest, but now it'll be silenced after that 4-on-4 position. But in the first minute, we're still trying to see that roam clear come into full effect, and it's giving Overture a little bit of a commotion for the time being.
Ooh, nasty pick goes through. Hawks in a great position outside front entrance, catching Maxley as they attempted to step away. But now Hawks taking a little bit of damage from a long shot over near Packer, who's holding up by main stairs. Great positional awareness right now from InControl, but they got caught off by a bit of an outplay there by Overture to watch more than one angle. One player pushing in through study could be a bad position. They're not too aware because this come in from this outside balcony is just devastating. Shaka's already in sight. Pistol out with the tries to go for the kill, but can't finish it off. Did get enough damage though. Shaka still down, but not out. Hawks also down to the process. Sinnoh does find one, but Esteem finishes off the kill into Shaka. A 2v2 in effect. Hawks is down, but not out. Esteem able to gank out Sinnoh, but Sinnoh's nade still capitalizes, and now it's just Nah, the last man standing in a one-on-one, as Vim is the only person up and ready to fight, and they're hanging out behind the bar. John, a minute and 20 seconds left here. Nah has the time, but Vim has the time to pick up Hawks and actually play in their own spectrum. Nah gonna go and hide behind shield at corner, now rotating back around through study. Maybe going in from planes, could catch a flank angle, but needs to make zero noise. Hawks watching the door. Unfortunate position now as Vim expends a utility inside Classical Hall over by Lamp, making it impossible as that air jab will continue in that direction. Vim finds the shots and a great connection. This round is over. A phenomenal round from start to finish.
Yeah, perfect round, like you mentioned. We saw that quick trade come out in the beginning of the round, didn't really do all that much except you lost your buck player, but after that they rotated on out to finish the rest of their roam clear, did an effective job of that, and then eventually just after a couple more frags here and there, they got control of the objective room, and there wasn't really much left for the lone Aruni player to do in that position. Nomad of Vim had great coverage with those air jabs. He revived his downed player as well. It was just the perfect position for Overture. It was only a matter of time before they probably started to attempt getting that diffuser down onto the ground, but they didn't really need it, as well as they were still watching every single direction that we could have saw that push coming through by InControl Nation. The first round boding quite well for Overture, but now they've got to go up against a completely different objective room. One of our personal favorites, you and I both, Scott, is Dining Room and Kitchen, and the lineup is definitely very interesting on the side of InControl Nation, but a good one as well. Not horrible in the slightest.
I think from what we've been noticing so far, InControl's defense was fairly well coordinated, but just got caught off guard very early on, lost too many players, and then everything just tended to kind of fall apart. The insanely swift entrance we saw by Shaka to step up, while it did not net them any kills, it did ultimately lead them to an assist to another player having to rush that kill, which then ultimately led to Sinnoh's nade, as they had found two. I mean, the impact that Shaka made, not just in terms of utility with Rotaro Jones, but really just the rush in all encompassing purposes. The rush was everything, and it just found so much success. Another run out, though, being made now, as InControl Nation's Maxley will run out from the top of Closet Window and trying to find a kill. Does not work out for them. We've now seen two spawn peek attempts, one by Indy in round one, and now by Maxley. But it's once again InControl Nation lose a player as Hawks takes out of steam, and Sight almost in full control. Packer finds one. It's back and forth action as Sinnoh's able to clean up for their second. It's just Nah left standing, and I'm sorry to say it, but the melee from behind, Blade backstabs like an Assassin's Creed character, and this round is over.
Just getting shanked at the end. No one actually able to stop just the push into Sight. Overture spotting a gigantic opening and just seizing the opportunity to get control of that site. Perfect play by them indeed, just blitzkrieging into that objective room and securing their second round win. So I guess it didn't matter if they allowed the forfeit round to go through or not, because they'll still be up 2-0 going into the third round, where InControl Nation, they have a lot of aggression to back themselves up, but after that aggressive start, they just simmer down far too much, and they don't look at the bigger picture in terms of just stopping the basics of the actual site push itself, which has costed them now 2 rounds in a row.
Apparently, Overture does definitely feel confident in the fact that they didn't need those 2 free round wins. They managed to gain them. And yes, the first round was a little close, but that second round completely in control for them. Their swift rush forward. When you're talking about that tertiary objective, John, there's 3 strategies you see. One of them you almost never see, but there's 3 total strategies that are that I'm used to seeing in regards to that objective. I'm sure there's plenty more, but there's 3 basic strategies in terms of a push. 1, rush in through pantry. 2, pantry and laundry, obviously. Rushing through pantry and laundry. 2, take the second floor, sledge it out, breaching around it out, whatever you got to do, and then play vertically. Or 3, come from Skylight, which you can no longer rappel down, but come from Skylight Hall and attempt to try and step in through Memo Door and fight in that direction. And we saw the rush come through, and it was a complete and overarching success for Overture. They just swept side, and InControl was kind of flabbergasted. They didn't really know what they needed to do to try and fight that off, and they were ultimately just completely flustered. There was nothing that could happen, John. Those are the moments where I'm sitting here as a player and going, I just don't know what to do. I don't know. Uh-oh.
Oh, no. Wow. Oh. Perfect, Max. Oh, you love to see it, too.
He waited for that rappel noise to actually vault in. Oh, gorgeous.
Oh, and then Indy gets...
Well, I'm sorry to say, but I think John's internet has unfortunately died. Is he back?
Not
You're
yet.
Back?
Now I am.
You're
Thank
back now.
you.
All right,
That
you're
was
good. All right,
awkward.
continue. That was strange.
What I was saying,
but
I hate my internet, man. I was saying that that's the InControl nation I know that we're used to seeing, just having these very dominant and aggressive, working out them for the most part. Finally, on this 3rd round, they start things off with trees, and the Chargers could easily be denied here by Packer, and I'm pretty proud of seeing that, but he'll do it in the long run. So still a great position now. Control Nation as we're getting towards that last action phase here. And am I still coming in clear, Scott? Because it says I'm lagging. Oh no, I'm back. That's good.
You're kind of occasionally cutting out, but you're good.
Not shocking.
No,
but
anyway, it's fine. It's fine. I'll take over for like 30 seconds to see if your internet comes back. Not a big deal. 5v3 in effect in Control Nation with their full 5 on their stack. Packer attempts to peek corner over by Trophy and successfully does so as Hawks is out for the count. Vim finds one, refract immediately back by Maxley. And a 4v1. Seno still has 2 nades in pocket. Utility available. Finds and destroys Maxley in the process. Now wary of that 90 classical haul and wary of Doorway leading inside of Plains Room. Now is ready in a moment's notice to peek where necessary. Packer may be low, but this 1v3 is absolutely manageable for this Seno player. We've seen them do much worse. Camera spotting them out constantly. Great utility usage by InControl, making it a little bit harder for Overture's Gaming Seno to actually make that push forward. Shot through the hatch hole by Esteem's SMG-11. One nade being tossed through. That's going to go down Classical. One player at the end by Lamp, taking a lot of damage through wall as well for one player behind Bar, but no! All the way at the end of the hall, finds the shot and successfully ends this round off for their first defensive round victory. Finally, InControl Nation have some semblance of actually being in control of this match.
Their aggression finally paying off, to put it bluntly, Scott, because the other past 2 rounds, their assertive roam was flat out denied by Overture, or just wasn't even pushed through at all. They weren't really being forced out on round number 2. It was just a sight push by Overture that was looked over. It was glanced by InControl Nation. But that round, like you said, they really did look like they were in control throughout that entire round. They started off Maxley, a great entry with that Nitro Cell, and then Indy on a rotate near that back stairwell just wrapped up another one. There was just no room for recovery, and I would agree with you. That 1 versus 3 situation was definitely doable, but the fact that InControl Nation just did not really overextend themselves, and they had everything on lockdown near that last couple 30 seconds or so into the round, there really wasn't much that the lone player Ed Sino could really do. So finally, a great round win for InControl Nation as they now try to go to Trophy Room for their first time, and this setup overall looking pretty straightforward to say the least, and those Kaid Electroclaws could definitely prove to be a massive problem if not dealt with by either the vertical play or just fragmentation grenades performed by Sino.
I think a very large majority of what we will see from this attack is going to be a bit.
Oh. Did that land properly?
No,
Oh, no, it didn't.
no, it did not.
Unlucky.
Packer has officially failed their one and only roll there, and unfortunately so. There's a better spot to place that as well. All right, Max. Okay, Max. Okay, finding 2 in a run out. That's also your spike as well. The diffuser is down. Maxley completely slaughters Sinnoh and Vim. No chance of your entry to go down, and there's no one to watch your flank as your Nomad's air jabs have fallen and landed on the floor. Just a complete one-sided stop for Maxley stepping forward. I don't think either of us saw that coming, John.
I mean, I knew that InControl Nation would go for something aggressive again, but Max already attempted that run out with the Vigil pick a few rounds prior, but does it again and actually strikes gold when looking for bronze. Perfect run out by Max, and the lack of denial by Overture, not even finding a refrag, is definitely a gigantic slap in the face and an overlook, to say the least. Now they're back in another 5-on-3 position here, and it's going to be a really tough predicament once again, especially since InControl Nation just have to sit pretty and just stall for another minute 50 here. It will really come down to some sort of miracle play, and that push in towards Astro could really make or break this 4th round for Overture Gaming, as they already have that control of the area, and luckily pick up 1 on towards the Steam, but there's a quick retrade coming in through. Max gets 3 for the round, and Packer wraps it up. A nice little buddy ace, and really nothing there that Overture Gaming could really do after losing off of that massive run out by Max Scott.
He pulled out the gat and got the shot with the revolver as well. If you wanted to end that round off in a better way, the buddy ace and then the revolver finish. So the old 6-cylinder, it may be high noon somewhere in the world, but where I am, it's only 6:30, and InControl still managing to show that they can, in fact, be in control. So despite Overture's phenomenal 2-round start, InControl have tied it up, and we're at 2-2. 2 rounds now left in this half. And this is where it's going to be able to separate themselves from the competition. Can InControl take the next 2 and come up 4-2 at the half and then have their own attempt at the attacking side? Will Overture beat the spread and actually manage to take it up in an advantage, or will we see that coveted half 3-3 split? Time will have to tell here, John, but from the way that we've been seeing it, InControl are having to rely on spawn peaks, they're having to rely on cheeky angles. Yeah, we saw that amazing Nitro just prior. I think that one is one of the few moments where I'm like, hey, that's a great play, but I don't think spawn peaks necessarily determine skill. They can absolutely determine how a round will go, like we just saw, but I don't think they're very indicative of a team strategy overall. And I don't know. I think as long as Overture can stop the spawn peak, I think that, or the kills outside the map like that Nitro as well, they can just walk inside the objective and take InControl completely out of the equation like we've already seen them do before.
I think it mostly just came down to a huge oversight by Overture on that last round, just not anticipating the same thing to happen just because it was already attempted once. Always expect anything to happen in really any video game, and especially Rainbow Six Siege, where the sky is honestly the limit in most of these rounds here. And again, just the overall aggression coming out by InControl Nation just performed a slightly different way, as Naj is holding down that pixel peak. He's got a deployable shield to work with as well, but it won't be Na to find that first entry. Instead, Indy wraps it up onto Sinnoh, and just the cross peaks coming out through as well. Again, that dominating stance by InControl, trying to get those early on entries and just adding that snowball effect, and they continue to do it. Max not being contested as he picks up a long shot angle on a Hawks, getting rid of the player with the case, but sends it outside of them, most likely be picked up, but you cannot pick up 2 revives coming in that situation. Both Hawks and Sinnoh are now left on cam duty for another 2 minutes.
I almost want to take back what I said about it not requiring skill to be able to, spawn peek like that, because their crossfire is in itself skill, it's talent, and they're exactly showcasing it right there. Blade stabs out finds Indy as they're on their camera droning. So I think maybe just typing, as now they're talking to each other. Blade finds a kill into Packer, and Nitro detonated, does not tag. They've managed to step away from that position, maybe even just opened up a hole for them in the process. They still have 1 more Nitro to go, and Esteem is trying to gather that information for this InControl defense. Could be very fruitful for them. Blade is going to go ahead and hop up on top of the bed, hoping to maybe get away from any of those Nitros that may still be remaining, as they don't necessarily know how many are left. But in all honesty, John, I think Overture's kind of done a really good job of making this comeback, but I'm pretty sure the diffuser is actually stuck outside.
they never pick up the case. I think you're right as well. That's a very awkward position. Luckily, they still have a minute to maybe recover it here, but other than just not having that diffuser in their back pocket, they're quite limited on their approaches here, because not having that hard destruction, you can't get that laundry wall opened up. You can push from the doorway leading into there, which will bring you to that Tetris bomb site, but other than that, you're really spreading yourself thin in this position. Yeah, you may have an even man count, but again, not having that primary utility, only secondary to try to make magic work here, it's going to be a very difficult task to try to accomplish here in these last 30 seconds as well, where the last three players of InControl Nation can just sit pretty here. Max goes for an aggressive peek, gets one with the help of Na, but not going to be able to find another one before Shaka does find that trade. Now in the middle of sight here, trying to look for a frag with that SMG-11, but just gets tag teamed by Esteem and Na once more. Now a 1v1 as Vim does get one, but cannot secure the second to seal the deal. Luckily, though, you got that player in the background with Pulse to wrap it up, and there we have it. Another round favoring InControl Nation, and from start to finish, they just look so dominating for the most part.
I have to give a lot of props there to Overture for the amazing comeback. The two people getting picked off at the very beginning is not something that's easy to come back from. And yes, it is really unfortunate that not only did you get spawn peaked like that, but also to have the bomb get stuck in the map on the ledge where you cannot get to a location to actually grab it. Very unfortunate. If it was an automatic pickup, like it used to be, or whatever it is now, it would have been a little bit easier. Maybe if it magnetized to you, didn't have to literally touch the 1 pixel that it technically like takes up or something. I don't know. Well, something has to change. That's a Ubisoft problem. Like we talked about last game, they don't listen to me, so I guess it doesn't really matter. But tertiary of tertiary objectives. Wow, very interesting to see this one get played. InControl must feel extremely confident after these last few rounds to pick this one up and actually play it. Not exactly sure why, but the way they've been playing, I definitely think they have what it takes to be able to pull out a W on this objective.
They've got a little bit of what I like to call a ranked lineup. They've got a Doc out of all operators, and most people know from playing the game, Doc normally does not stim his teammates up. It's mostly just for himself. So don't expect much out of Esteem. Not saying he's a bad player. I'm just saying that that's kind of the stereotype, and that stereotype is kind of followed through most of the time at there. But it works for some really fast and effective rotations. You've got Na on the Alibi, which doesn't bring a ton in primary utility, but she does have a great secondary utility of that shield, also having the MX Storm with 1.5, and being a really speedy gal, she can kind of run around the map with relative ease, and this map is definitely suited well for that kind of aggressive style of roam game, which we've seen performed quite well by InControl Nation throughout most of this best of one so far. But this time around, it's not going to give them the entry, but it's going to cost them to lose the player of Max getting blown sky high by a Claymore pre-placed by Hawks.
Where even... thrown outside. Nasty from outside mud. That's a great location for that. Full props to Hawks. Maxley finally gets a taste of their own medicine. As somebody who's had to ever face before spawn peaks, that is, I feel good about that kill. And I'm not even the one playing right now. It hurts to see Max go off that hard and find somebody spawn peaks. But spectacular job there by Hawks to get the Claymore kill. Now Overture finally get the opening pick. You can have a little bit more of an advantage in terms of their attack, but this tertiary of tertiary choices may leave them kind of floundering, kind of flustered about what they need to do. Not many teams actually prep completely for this. They give like a kind of a basic strategy, and they just kind of attempt to attack it in the same way they would usually attack an objective, but it's very different. It's a very large objective. One of the rooms is massive, completely open, and if you don't have a great way to hard breach inside, you don't have a great way to cut off sightlines. And I'm going to go ahead and say it. The fact of the matter is, it's going to be exceedingly difficult with those bandit batteries to get inside of the objective.
I think the best quote for this is if we don't know what we're doing, their opponents do not know how to actually go up against us here. And it's being displayed quite perfectly, because although Overture does have that entry, they are wasting a decent amount of time actually trying to get inside of the objective room. Luckily, though, that hard destruction will make their lives 10 times easier, but they haven't dealt with the roam game entirely. Packer off in the background on that full rotation using the basement floor, and Na as well, up in the middle of main hallway, could find a great pick as well. This is still a very ripe round for the taking here for for InControl Nation. They just have to let that fruit sit for a little while longer, and they can get that easy money here in this position. And there's not much time on the side of Overture Gaming either. That could have been a great frag by Indy, but luckily he can just reposition here. But it won't be him to find that refrag. It'll be Packer with a trade on towards Hawks as he rotates again into the belly of this map of Villa. But now, not much time left for Overture Gaming here. Just about 20 seconds here, Scott. And only now are they starting that rush. And it's just being stopped, halted, dead in its tracks here by Nah. Plant being attempted by Shaka. And there's only a little bit of coverage here, but plenty of intel to gather for the side of InControl Nation. But that plant still does go down. Indy and Packer, though, pick up 2 nice frags, all in the hands of Vim. He's got to go up against the shotgun. He wins it, but has to win 3 more gunfights in this position. And already being on such low HP, it might not be doable as his team's going for this defuse. Great crosspeak, and the hip fire by Indy connects onto the head of Vim, and they'll get that defuse with relative ease. InControl Nation winning a 4th round for themselves here. Great overall split in that first half, and yeah, I'm a little bit shocked too that Bailiff just got devoured by Doc. His team was just hungry for lead apparently, not just defuses.
No, the worst part was the fact that Esteem had double stinned himself, right? Before pushing for the diffuser. He had stimmed himself up. And he was max stimmed, but the issue was still you got Bailiff in the fort. Yeah, I know the Bailiff's not that good, but you got point blank Bailiff in the head.
I think the Pellish just didn't go on his head, maybe, so it didn't count as a headshot.
Point blank? Like, all right, Ubisoft.
I don't know,
now
man.
you have 2 things you need to answer me. 1, why don't you ever talk to me? 2, explain the diffuser and the Bailiff right there. I want double explanations. All right, we need more information about this.
I showed you my caster reel. Please respond.
I wish I had a caster reel. That would actually imply I put forth effort.
Same.
Oh my goodness. But yeah, like you said, a great spread for InControl Nation. Maybe Overture's kind of looking back at it saying maybe we should have taken a 2-round lead at some point, because then they would have been tied. Actually, no, they would have been ahead at this point. It would have been a 4-2. It would have been a complete opposite stretch that we would have seen. And in fact, it would have been a 3-3 at half, and then it would be 3-4 because Overture would have gotten 1 defensive round win as well. So 1 in attack and 1 in defense, but they declined it. And now they're going to have a very big uphill battle, a 2-round deficit. They need to win 5 if they want to win this.
It is pretty common, though, to be in that 4-2 or 3-3 split. Obviously, 3-3 would have been a lot better of a situation here for Overture Gaming, but it could be worse. Could be 5-1. Hell, could be 6-0. We basically saw a 7-0, or technically 7-1, as only 1 round was gifted to the opposing team in the last matchup between Syntex and also, I believe that was Chess Club. That's why I forgot their name, because I'm still trying to remember that they're not Title and half of Mystic anymore. But already, first half of the round going underway in the action phase, and a quick roam clear is going underway by InControl. They need to remove this roam presence in order to get that vertical play down, gather some valuable sight lines, and then possibly begin that hard destruction leading into Laundry. But so far, that first entry not going to bode well for them. Sinnoh's going to win that gunfight up against Indy, and now the case is directly in towards that statue doorway with almost everyone's eyes guarding it. But so far, only Sinnoh needs to look down that doorway as he's winning all of his gunfights, looking for a third. He will not get it, but Null responds on a Vim as well, and all of a sudden, InControl Nation are back in the highlight reel, waiting to win out this 7th round.
Very interesting circumstances now as Hawks and Shaka, the last 2 standing. No, removes out Hawks, and now it's just Shaka. And we'll have to see more than just a small level of performance. It's going to have to be a boom Shaka Laka kind of moment. Shaka attempts to peek in through door. Not happening because there's that LMGE spray we've already talked about prior. Just spray and pray. Team Fortress 2 heavy moment right there. That's exactly what we saw. A phenomenal performance once again from InControl Nation. They're at 5-2. They're 1 round away from match point. This could be a complete onslaught from InControl if they can just continue that same level of playstyle in these up-and-coming rounds.
Oh, man. You mentioned TF2, and I just remembered the heavy line of some people can outsmart me, maybe, but I've not been able to find one that can outsmart Bullet. The LMG was just a little bit too much to handle, I guess, with a great 3K at the end of that round. And still, InControl Nation at the top currently, only lost 2 rounds up against Overture, and they're doing really good, at least towards the middle part of that roam clear. Obviously, Sinnoh gave them a run for their money at the beginning, but eventually it was just way too much for him to handle in that position. Couldn't wrap up a third, and that gave just a small gap for InControl Nation to bring around that round back into their hands, and they seized the opportunity quite effectively, and now they're going to have to go up against one of the top 4 objective rooms of planes and games, as many like to coin it, and might be a little bit more of a different strategy here. Obviously, you don't have to worry about that top floor roam game, but you might have to worry about the lower presence that could be lurking around near possibly Boreal, or even that back area of Kitchen, or even the top floor room, as you can still hold Astro quite effectively on an Aviator defensive turret.
I think the biggest factor right now for Overture is the fact that they just need to deny the gunners that are present on InControl's side. We're seeing an almost completely reminiscent playstyle or operator lineup to Chess Club prior, where we see a Zofia in play, we see an Ashe in play, we see an Ayana in play. A Boss G Dokkaebi is interesting to see, but a Dokkaebi as well, they're literally just running in. Eating bullets in the process. Max does get Vim, but Sinnoh and Shaka find Indy and Max in retrospect. Nas sprays through the doorway, might I add, and kills off Sinnoh with that LMGE, taking shots from main stairs and from corner by the light post. Toxic Babe tossed in, not narrowly avoiding getting finished off that last bit of remaining HP. A Nitro could be tossed over that doorway. Blade does, in fact, have theirs still remaining, but a 3v3 in effect. Shaka is watching main stairs, waiting for at a moment's notice, but both of the players that aren't Gnaw are attempting to come up that side. Shaka finds Packer's head, and Overture may be able to defend this now, as it's a 3v2.
A great shot by Shaka, and like you said, that could give what Overture needs here in this position to win out the round. Gnaw now trying to take that spot, though, this fallen player, as he tries to burn through the ASs here with the lifeline coming in through, but he's on a sliver of health. Shaka gets the third, looking for 4, and he gets them all! Overture Gaming denying the rush perfectly. A bit of a throw, if I might say, for InControl Nation, but Overture will not deny themselves of seizing a almost free round off the back of Shaka. Only makes me wonder why they didn't take those 2 free rounds due to some player issues by InControl Nation, but I digress. That was
yeah. It was. I know we respect
why,
it. We respect it, yeah. Right? Props to you. Kudos.
The
right?
honor,
but also take the dang rounds, right? Take them. Take the rounds. It does not matter the situation. You take that. Right, it's free W's for you. No matter what you are confident in yourself, you should never be confident enough to not take free W's. Right, I'm going to every single time I go to McDonald's get a free McFlurry by having the app. Right, that's a free W in my book. I'm not going to say, nah, you know what? Out of respect for McDonald's, I'm not going to get the Frosty. Right, like whatever the heck it is, I'm not going to get it. Right, no, it's stupid. Take your free W's where you can get them. Hopefully, Indy doesn't actually bring the Boss G this time around. Maybe that was the difference maker. Maybe the fact that Overture had a Mark 14 EPR in their, Aruni, and the fact that InControl on their Dokkaebi did not. So maybe that was the difference maker. We'll have to tell. We'll see what their lineup does have to be. But we're seeing a distinct lack of an Ayana this time around, and instead, Packer will be picking up the sledge instead. It's still very reminiscent of what we saw last map, except for, I guess, the difference of having both a sledge and Ayana at the same time.
Yeah, InControl Nation, they're focusing a lot more on the fragging aspect of R6, which honestly I don't have a really big problem with. At the end of the day, it is still a shooter. You're still supposed to kill your enemies to win most of your rounds, not just always go for that plant, and I definitely like that side of the game most of the time, and we might see that first entry come on out, as Gnaw almost did spot out one from that landing doorway, or I should probably say trophy entrance doorway, but sadly that's not going to be the case. But yeah, no Boss G as well on the side of Indy. I figured I'd point that out since we were talking about that earlier, and I think the problem with InControl Nation on that last round was just the fact that they literally just ran into multiple pieces of utility and players and just weren't expecting any actual gunfights. And on this 9th round, the same thing will be had as Sinnoh and Hawks pick up those first 2 entries. Again, InControl Nation just not expecting the off angles or off positions to be held by Overture Gaming, and they're going to be able to capitalize off it with the first 2 entries again.
I guess on the defense, Overture doesn't have to worry about getting spawn peeked. So instead of spawn peeking themselves, they can just say, hey, you don't know we're going to be here. So instead, we know where you're going to come from. You're going to sprint forward, right? you're going to rush through this section, and we're going to shoot you as you pass by. And that's exactly what we saw. Packers able to stop the bleeding ever so slightly, taking out Vim as they were trapped inside corner pocket of Astronomy. Only Packer and Esteem, the two subs for this InControl side, left standing. Packer finds the head of Blade, swiftly removing them from the competition. Esteem finds Hawks. It's down to a 2v2, John. The two subs right now for InControl Nation may be able to save them and bring them to match point. Both attempted at one point to come in through Master Bedroom. It looks to be that Packer teasing the side of Master Bathroom to step up as well. They're not exactly sure where these last two players for Overture are, but we do know for sure that InControl Nation's comeback at this point is absolutely phenomenal. Seno all the way over by Aviator. Plains room at this time. They have a long range. They got to push forward to push. Unfortunate timing now. They're spraying, not really having any idea what to do. The diffuser on the other side of the map. They're going to have to do more than just step onto the side. They have to go grab that as well. And that's where Overture is lying in wait. Headshots being tagged. Shaka is trapped, running away now through that side of Classical Hall. There goes Esteem to find Sinnoh. A 2v1 situation now picked up as the diffuser. They can run back and actually get this plant down. Shaka left in a 1v2, MP5 in hand, ready to go at a moment's notice. Gun up at the ready, 1.5 ready to shoot. Spike now going down, or not Spike, diffuser, but Packer is making sure Shaka goes down. A massive comeback from a 2v4 to make it all the way. We're at match points.
I don't know what to say in that situation. Either a fantastic comeback by InControl Nation or the literal throw of the century for Overture Gaming, even having diffuser trapped inside of Aviator, and they still lost that 2-on-2, just feeding Esteem these one-on-one gunfights that he's clearly going to win. I almost feel bad for Overture in that position because they really should have had that round. They started off with 3 entries to their name, and somehow InControl Nation recovers to an even man situation of a 2-on-2 and then rubs it in by still winning out the round. It's impressive, to say the least, but also so disheartening if you're a fan of Overture Gaming. And like you said, now they're looking down the barrel of match point, and I feel like they're at their wits' end, in all honesty. That's got to be a gigantic mental shaker, and I honestly don't know if they're going to be able to recover from it, Scott. I really don't know.
I don't think there's much room to recover. I think there's a massive inherent problem right now with the fact that InControl Nation have just, when they're winning rounds, they look spectacular doing it. They're just outgunning, outmanning, and completely making Overture, I don't want to say, but kind of look like fools. I mean, the way that they're gunning is just, it's mentally demoralizing. It hurts to such an extreme margin to see them step up in this way and just dub on them, pog on them, whatever, however you want to phrase it. They're dominating Overture when it comes to frags, even though that last round didn't look like it. But Packer and Esteem just go clap, clap, I'll see you next round, or not at all. It's just, it's insane to see. Johnny, you here?
Panic.
Now he's lagging.
Great question. That is honestly a very good question. I am.
You're back now.
Here.
Like you didn't even cut in and out this time. You literally just were gone.
Yeah, I'm just. Oh, and now Blade's gone too. Apparently, perfect segment.
Oh,
my laggy internet. Ah, thank you. No.
Segue.
I appreciate the legal too. No chance in hell. This.
All right, I'm just gonna take over. Steam and Indy finding Hawks and Shaka. A 4v1. Vam is able to stop the bleeding slightly with taking out Maxley from Mima Room. Shaka at the ready, finding 2! Absolutely dominating as they take Gnaw and down Indy. It's just a Steam left standing. They have a full HP, getting Banshee'd out in the process. Vam may be low at about 27 HP, but Esteem can put down the diffuser and make this into a time game. Indy down to now finished off. A 3K to Vim's name. Will need the 4K to keep his team alive. Shot in the head of Steam! Is doing it again! Finding so much success! GG's no Rees! Should have taken the rounds!
Internet. Oh, not my internet. Definitely my internet. Nope. Definitely internet that was throwing harder than Overture.
Your internet. It was definitely your internet. 100%.
Close.
No,
They
John, just stop. Just stop. Just stop. Just stop.
they would
Hypermute him or
definitely
something. just Unfortunately, for this Overture Gaming roster, they will be felled by InControl Nation, who handily take that in a very nice fashion. And Overture were unable to take the W. They should have taken their rounds when they had. Full props to them. Massive respect to them. I give them the full props. Respect to them for attempting to play without those. It is a handicap. They don't want to feel like they have to take the handicap, but looking back on it, they're going to go, maybe we should have taken the handicap. It's just something that happens. But that's literally all we have here for you today. Maybe John's internet will hopefully recover. Maybe if you guys keep him in your hopes and prayers. But when that does come down to it, make sure to keep it up and running. This has been UPL Summer 2021. Stay tuned for even more action that will be going on throughout the day. As far as I remember, I think we have stuff going on after this. But my name's Infernosis, joined here by my wonderful friend fellow. Stay tuned for some League of Legends. We'll catch you guys next time.
Come one, come all to the fantastic playoff show. We are excited to bring you some Unified Advanced League action. And I say, come one, come all to the show because it is going to either be a circus or a fantastic opera, whatever you want to call it. We have awesome teams, the top 4 of every single division coming out and playing their hearts out. And hopefully we can bring you just a touch of that action. My name is Orbital. I'm joined here by random mini caster. You know us, you love us or hate us. I don't know. I don't judge. RMC, how you doing today?
Doing good here. And Orbital, I'm not hoping for an opera because I'd like to understand what I'm seeing. I'm not hoping for a clown fiesta either. I'm hoping for like MCU Avenger Universe style thing. Let's get a huge epic going here. Now we have 2 teams. We've got the 2nd seed from Inferno here, Gang 7 Mirage facing off against Cloud Division's 3rd seed, Mad City Wildcard, who we did get to catch and stream a couple weeks back. And when I was prepping for this, when I was talking to players, I found out something interesting. These teams are stepsister teams. Apparently, they both used to be Mad City teams, but Gang 7, this particular split, is not playing under the Mad City name here. So they're actually really familiar with each other. And whenever we see familiar teams face off, I always want to see weird, crazy picks because they know each other well. They know what to ban. They know what to pick.
And it either turns into one of the stalest matches kind of thing because they know each other so well that they don't want to make errors, or at the same time it just goes crazy, right? Everyone does something, someone wants to show off. And we also have some roster changes coming in here. I believe you had mentioned earlier when we were talking that Mad City Wildcard will not be playing with their primary lineup, which is honestly one of the more painful things to kind of digest if you are a Mad City Wildcard fan.
Yeah, so Mad City Wildcard have had some changes throughout the split with their roster, specifically their mid lane here. Their starters listed as Resinkin or Emperor May, but they've been using Nightingale on and off, especially towards the end of the split. So that particular substitution tonight is not that big a deal. But the big deal is their AD carry being substituted out here. Their starter was Nutty Bars, who has been the primary carrier of the team. Whether they're winning or losing, Nutty Bars almost always performs here. But tonight, we've got YYC ADC coming in instead of Nutty Bars. Now, they're a listed substitute. They've been there the entire split. We just haven't seen how they've performed whatsoever.
Yeah, and that can either be a good or bad thing, and I'm always leaning in towards a little bit of a negative outlook, right? When you bring in a substitution at this kind of last minute stage, more often than not, it causes a little discourse. It's a little bit difficult to maybe get into their play style, get into their heads, and really warm up with them. So I really do want to double check and see how well they play here in the first game. It is a best of 3, so you have a little bit of extra time to work with. But of course, only time will tell. We are getting into the champion select here as we see Gang 7 on the blue side, Mad City Wildcard on the red. And the first ban, of course, is going to be that Aurelia. It feels powerful if it's in the right hands.
Yeah, it's not even like Nightingale necessarily spams at Irelia very much. In fact, Nightingale has played 4 games, played 4 different champions. Irelia is not one of them. Irelia's just busted right now. She's so strong, and I've heard a set as the counter pick for Irelia, but I feel like every time I've seen that set Irelia matchup, Irelia gets double kills. So you're just removing these sort of strong power picks coming out. Now the Shen ban, that is a little bit more targeted here. Shen not super meta, but Hecate does play a lot of Shen in solo queue, at least. Not actually seen it that much here in Unified so far because it's been the most banned champion against Gang 7.
Yeah, and not allowing that Staying United to be around is always, I think, a good thing if you are smart enough to ban it away, right? Saying, hey, look, we don't want that shield to come down, and even more shields being banned away. Mad City Wildcard is just saying, listen, shields on the shields are all going to go out the window. On the flip side, Gang 7 taking away 2 primary engagers, the Diana taken out of the jungle, and the Aphelios, no Moonlight Vigil to be had here in Game 1.
Yeah, interestingly enough, the other junglers are still left available. Currently, there's sort of a trifecta at the top of junglers. Shinzao, Diana, there we go, and Diego here. So Diego is up and possibly able to be taken here. The Trundle being picked up, and Trundle is a newer pick we've seen come into meta more recently here. It does fairly well into the Shinzao, and it also makes sure that the opposing team can't comfortably pick any tanks or else you can shred them. And while Trundle is known as a tank shredder, Trundle's also very good at making squishy targets even squishier to the point that anybody, even maybe a support, can handle them.
Yeah, it reminds me of the time where if you ulted, if you subjugated a Sejuani and then broke her shield, she had like negative armor and magic resist, which was great, by the way. I think it still works that way, but it's such a rare interaction. If you have it, I promise you, it's hilarious to see. However, ADC is now coming out for the second picks here. Varus for the side of Mad City Wildcard, a pretty staple one, can swap between the on-hit versus the lethality build. But Gang 7 going with all reliable, the Kaisa being hovered here, and if locked in, a great follow-up to the Xin Zhao.
Yeah, and it's X-Ray's most played AD carry here, both in solo queue as well as in unified. Paired with that Xin Zhao, you've already got the makings of a fairly good dive composition. The Thresh coming out is a little bit surprising. It's not a pairing that we often see paired with that Kaisa necessarily, because usually you want something that goes in like the Leona, like the Nautilus. But what it is a good deny away from the side of Mad City Wildcards here. Because Varus is fairly immobile, you generally do want something defensive like the Thresh with him.
Yeah, and I mean, that's the bottom lane locked in. So instead, Mad City Wildcard opt to take the top lane out. The Camille has been locked in. That is going to be a blind pick, Camille. So that's very, very interesting to see. Now we're into the second round of bans. And with a little bit of a staggered pick phase for the early stages, we could see some targeted bans coming out here for both sides.
Yeah, and this Camille is one of Axum's more comfortable champions. We've not seen it too much in Unified. He's mostly been playing the Renekton, the Gwen for the most part here. And Gang 7 have opted to give over this Camille a little bit, right? Like, we saw the Irelia ban come out. We saw Diana ban come out, the Aphelios ban. So they're comfortable with giving this pick over. And I'm curious to see what heck it has in terms of counter picks available here. The Trundle has been taken away. I mean, GP potentially here, but things like the Jax, which we traditionally see used to counter the Camille, pardon me, that's not really something that Hecate normally plays.
Yeah, and we can see the hard target actually, you're talking about Hecate in that top side. Well, it's more the mid laners that we're actually seeing focused down here. The Galio, Victor, and Silas all taken off the table and saying that, hey, look, we want to pinch that pool a little bit. And of course, Mad City Wildcard are going to have the counter pick potential for themselves, but they do lock in the Braum, a very solid, the tank in the front line. That Fissure will be doing great work. Now it's up to Gang 7 to figure out what they want to throw against Camille and what they want to chance in that mid lane.
Okay, if the Mundo is picked up here, that's a little bit curious because Mundo doesn't do great into Camille later in the game. Early on, it's pretty decent because your passive allows you to negate that small stun from the Camille there, but it does come at the expense of your health, so the trading gets a little bit dicey. I'm more curious to see what Steel City Warrior picks up here because the Lulu ban definitely targeted. Steel City Warrior has a very interesting champion pool for the most part. Been playing a lot of Lulu, played Pantheon quite a bit as well. Doesn't seem to play really a lot of meta champions, so he's going to be what really rounds out this composition. And because he's played so much support, his carries haven't looked quite as impressive as the supports, the enchanters so far here. Okay, wow. That's blind Lissandra.
And this is an extremely defensive pick. Lissandra, in my opinion, is usually seen as kind of the counter pick in situations against assassins and all. To see a blind pick, I kind of like it. Does set up the Xin Zhao well, but it does give a lot of leeway for MCW to actually aggress and really punish.
Yeah, and to me, this is a pick that tells us that they know Mad City Wildcard very, very well. Nightingale likes assassins, things like the Akali, the LeBlanc, the Kassadin actually got pulled out as well by Nightingale before. So you take that Lissandra, you deny all of that away. But the problem is Nightingale has a Champion Ocean. So you ban all the assassins. What do you get instead? Azir. And Lissandra cannot comfortably lane into Azir. There's not really a great way for you to engage. You just get poked up, and then you just have to full engage. If you can't 100-0 that Azir, the Lissandra is going to lose every time. And if you all win like that, Azir pokes you out, turns around, and then all-ins you after he's got you down to like less than 30% health.
Yeah, and it really, to me, just screams the fact that the two champions that we are going to be watching for Gang 7 are that Xin Zhao and the Kaisa. The composition feels like it's just straight up beat around the Xin Zhao, and even at the very end, that's all they want to do. That puts a lot of pressure on Best Turtle, right? It's scary. We talk up how strong the Xin Zhao is, but it's also kind of a gamble champion. We've also seen it fall off extremely hard if it doesn't get the early lead that it needs.
Yeah, and Best Turtle Oceania has looked amazing this split so far. And a lot of that has been with that Lulu support in the mid lane. Enchanter Sintao is just a recipe for success here. So he's been the one to kick off most of the action for Gang 7. Now you don't have that Enchanter support in the mid lane to help you, kick things off. And then we talk about the fact that your lanes aren't exactly great for yourself. It's very rough. And if anything, this is a test for Best Turtle to see if he can carry even without that support. And on the side of Mad City Wildcard, I know that's a meme. It's a little bit of a joke in their team that Javi is everything's Javi's fault, basically. Early game goes badly, Javi's fault. Mid game through, Javi's fault. Javi can be halfway across the map, they lose a fight, Javi's fault. So it's a bit of a joke. But the last time we saw them, Javi looked pretty decent. So hopefully it remains a joke on stream. If not, maybe that's a potential avenue. If it really is partially rooted in fact, Gang 7 would be the ones to know this, and potentially we might see some really heavy jungle aggression coming out of Gang 7.
So all I heard right there is no matter what, it's the jungle's fault. It's my solo queue dreams come to life right there. No matter what, even if I go 0-7, it's the jungle's fault. With these lineups though, and you put the pressure on Javi and Turtle here, that's pretty much what we've seen. If you're looking at these team compositions, if it's around the jungle, I mean, which side really has that advantage in the early stages? Maybe around those Scuttles or the Rift Heralds or the Dragon per se.
Honestly, when I look at the draft right now, Gang 7's draft worries me because of that early and late game pressure that we're talking a little bit about here, Orbital. If we're talking about late game here, the Azir skills extremely well, depending on how the Varus goes, that skills well too. But Camille definitely will outskill the Mundo. Early game, Camille, especially if she takes Ignite, can still match into Mundo very comfortably. There is kill pressure there, so it's not as if Mundo controls that lane. Mid lane, we already talked about the fact that Lissandra doesn't get priority, doesn't get agency in that particular matchup. And in the bot lane, that's probably the diciest one, kind of. But Braum at early levels, level 1, level 2, is actually one of the strongest supports. And if you take Hill of Blades on that Varus here, you match that Kai'Sa. Kai'Sa actually doesn't outtrade you in the early couple of levels till she gets, 1 item, 2 item, and then she gets kill threat, but she doesn't get poke. So I feel like it's really Mad City Wildcard's game to lose here. They have the better draft as long as they play it, halfway decently. Gang 7 have to greatly overperform to really find a way into the game.
Well, there you go. Our thoughts moving into this game. Number one, again, remember, it is the opening game with a few new faces on the wrist, so we'll see how they play it out. But of course, we will go to a very short intermission and ensure that we do have some quality content for you here today on the wrist. So please do not go anywhere. We'll be right back with game number 1 between Gang 7 and Mad City Wildcard. And we are back here. Game number 1 ready to go on the Rift. So let's go ahead, run down the players that we have gracing our eyes today. On the blue side, it is going to be Gang 7. Heket, Mask Off in the top lane. Best Turtle, OCE in the jungle. Steel City Warrior in the mid lane. X-Ray Goggles in the ADC role. And of course, Havoc in the support.
And on the red side here, it is Mad City Wildcard with Axum in the top lane in a kind of dicey situation here. Ward goes down and they found the hook.
All right, we can't even talk about the players. That's going to be Axum. Okay, never mind. We can talk about it. It's just a little bit crazy. Don't worry. But a good force of the repel to kick things off for Axum.
Yeah, Axum, you know, just showing off a little bit, as we call his name, giving us a little bit of a show. But in the jungle here for Mad City Wildcard, it is going to be I Am Javi. In the mid lane, it's Nightingale. As the AD carry, it's YYC AD carry. And in the support role, it's 35701.
Yep, a lot of numbers, a lot of fun there. But eyes to the top side, right? Camille's we generally see, I just want to point this out because normally you see the teleporting knight. That's the one that you like to run. That's the one that you love to get the lane advantage on. And yet he is going, the flash says that he is maybe not so confident in that top lane matchup.
Yeah, a bit of a safer sort of summoner to go here. And we were talking a little bit, Orbital, before we got into the game, and I was telling you that if that is an Ignite teleport Camille, I'm expecting to see First Blood go down into the top lane, because that tells me you're looking for lane control. With the Flash, you won't win the early game quite as much with the Camille, but what you choose, you get that safety, and later on, when you skill up here, you become a huge side lane split pressure threat, which cannot be answered. The Mundo won't be able to beat you later, neither will the Xin Zhao.
Yeah, well, you know, we have the most colorful Dr. Mundo skin, I think, here. Is just full on purple. But bot side, we see a little bit of a fight. 357 took a little bit of a trade that he probably didn't like.
Yeah, usually Braum is very, very strong in the early levels, but you do have to be careful about CC. And with that death sentence, the stun portion of it's actually fairly long here. They do have to be careful.
Be a little bit careful. They're going to go ahead, go in. This is going to be the exhaust going down. 357 is dead. That's the first blood with the ignite, and the heal comes out of X-Ray Goggles. The pop-up is there, and that's a flash in. YYC is going to get the trade kill, but the trade back is enough. Havoc with 2 kills to his name. He is now the carry.
Okay, that seemingly came out of nowhere there, Orbital. We were watching mid lane farming peacefully, and then next thing I know, I just saw health bars dropping on 35701 here. And that's actually really rough for the Varus here, losing control of it. Top side, Heket.
All right, Heket, he is getting run out. Doesn't even have a chance. Flashed at the end. That's going to hurt even more than the death, I think.
Yeah, no ignite needed from this Camille. And that's absolutely brutal to watch here. We're seeing the teleport come right back in from Heket just to make sure he doesn't lose too much pressure in the lane. But the lane's actually not in a good state for him. His lane is actually pushing out. So even though he expended the teleport, he's not going to be able to do anything. And he had to even ward to make sure that he doesn't get repeat ganked by Javi.
It's the cheetah ward over the wall, but that is a very rough start because I didn't get to talk about it. Bot side, you know, both kills went to Havoc, whereas the 1 kill for MCW actually went to YYC. So in terms of where the gold went, I would say it goes in favor of MCW's bot lane. Now we're going to see a little bit of a flay. Havoc doesn't want to send it top lane. All right. Mundo is dead again.
Yeah, and that was my concern with using that teleport there, is that you are gankable. The ward's still there, so that tells me that Heket just overstepped way too far out and just got run down by a Trundle there. This top lane, I mean, we're talking about Camille, you know, popping off later. It's popping off now. Bot lane, once again, the gank, the hook.
Ooh, and that's a solid hook to bring everyone in. This might be the kills that you want. Now a dive under the tower, but they can't get any more. They don't want to chance it. They don't want to risk their lives. They go ahead and get one and claim their rightful prize.
YYC can't stay in lane though. He's too low. He needs to go back to base, but he's not channeling the recall, and instead X-Ray Goggles, Havoc, they're just getting free plates here. I am so scared right now. Havoc's death sentences have looked like a point-and-click spell.
Oh, well, that's why he wasn't worried about it. Axum came in with the sweep and the teleport. That's going to be a little burst of damage. Oh! All right, X-Ray, he's able to pick it up. The trade is there, but Axum might get 2 back, and he is. The shutdown off the Thresh is going to go in the Camille's pocket. And my gosh, RMC, we wanted a bloody game. but not one where the Camille is popping off 3-0-1 before 6 minutes.
To be fair, this is not a Clown Fiesta. This is actually pretty good play from both of these teams, recognizing where they should play. When Axum and Javi got the kill topside twice now, and X-Ray Goggles and Havoc got their kills in the bot lane, it decided the map was going to be split vertically. Mad City Wildcard was going to have strength in the top lane, and Gang 7 were going to have the better bot lane. So you could see that was how it responded. Best Turtle was forced to gank the bot lane to make that happen. The problem now is that teleport from Axum now sets Axum so far ahead in this top lane that it's not playable for Heket. They have no control over this Herald, and the bot lane didn't actually get that far ahead either. So X-Ray Goggles, as you pointed out, didn't get the early kills. It's only about matching YYC here. So Mad City Wildcard, they are very happy with the current game state. They are ahead despite the gold only being about 500 different.
Yeah, and the itemization is a little bit of a tough choice. You can see the Noon Quiver coming out for X-Ray Goggles, but on the split side, YYC had opted for that pickaxe and the longsword, so didn't have enough per se. However, we are seeing Steel City Warriors stay top lane for a little bit too long, and Havoc doing a little bait with the Lantern. He's going to be able to get one hit on the pink ward and not too much else.
Yeah, and Nightingale was hovering down there, but will get spotted on a ward, will back right off here. And the mid laners, the roams don't seem to find anything.
Yeah. This is a pretty difficult time, and as of course we, you know, it's rough to see, to say the least, and we are going to go back to us just real quick. We had a little technical difficulty, so we're going to sort that out and get right back into the game, of course. But let's break it down, because we haven't had a whole lot of time. That was a lot of action, 9 kills in about 5 minutes, close to the 2 kill a minute mark. And let's break it down, right? We talked about Axum, we talked about how much that gave him in the top side, but the junglers did get a handle a little bit. And again, the storyline that we were trying to push, of course, were the junglers, you know, gamble on both sides. At this point, is it out of their hands? Is it out of the Trundle and the Xin Zhao's hands?
Not completely here. The Trundle and the Xin Zhao right now, Best Turtle and Javi are actually fairly equivalent. They both have a kill apiece. I believe Javi also has an extra assist under his belt, but they are not too far apart here. And it's just a vertical map. That's all it is right now, Orbital. So for the side of Mad City Wildcard here, they need to shore up their bot lane. They don't necessarily need to gank the top lane too much. Axum's got full control of that here, and we are back into the game. So it's more about protecting your bot side, which is why we see Javi sitting in this bush here. For Best Turtle, you are no longer looking at the top side, because even if you gank top, we already saw that Axum can win 1v2 in a 1v3 situation. So you kind of abandon your Dr. Mundo, and what you need to do now is look at your mid and bot lane as well. You need to win your bot lane harder to the point where they can take that 2v3 situation. They can soak up gank pressure and maybe still exert kill pressure.
Oh, well, we do see the jungle going ahead and taking away that Dragon Hobby, getting first pick there. Best Turtle might be able to sniff something. Steel City Warrior as well, but it's only a Mountain Drake, not the worst one to lose in the world. Best Turtle OCE is going to be a little bit late to the party, is going to lose out, so Dragon stacking coming up for the side of NCW.
Now, attempted gank. First hook that we've seen miss, actually, from Havoc there on screen. And now Javi's coming in as well. It's a full 3v3.
Yeah, and they're going to try and force this out. Again, down goes the Subjugate here. They're just going to jump right on. Xin Zhao is going to get the Crescent Guard off. Going to knock him back. A little bit of a stun there. Good pop by the Kaisa, and that's going to be 1 kill. But the Piercing Arrow gets the other kill back, and Nightingale is here way faster than Lysandra, and the Emperor's Divide is going to force X-Ray Goggles directly into the enemy's path. The cleanup has been made, and Steel City Warrior walks begrudgingly back to mid lane.
That hurts so much, Orbital, for the side of Gang 7 right now. We were just talking about their winning bot lane. It ain't winning anymore. You're even at best here. And Nightingale got to pick up an extra kill in the mid lane. That's going to make it even harder for Lysandra here. Now, Herald is up and available. And I want to see Mad City Wildcard just go for it, because you've got Prio mid. You've got Prio top. If Gang 7 walk and try and contest this Herald, you can always just turn on them and look for more kills.
Yeah, no chance whatsoever if they do want to go for some of these extra opportunities. And with that, again, very sorry, very small little things that we got to fix here, and we're getting it set for you. But of course, this game, you can really see that they do know each other pretty much by heart. You're seeing some of these plays roll out. It's like they practice it over and over again. I equate it a lot to a boxing match, throw a punch thrown here, a retaliation in another side, and you always got to protect your flank.
Yeah, and one of the things that I want to highlight, and we actually have the time to, is the fact that when that gank came up from Best Turtle, it was a little bit forced. And Javi was just sitting in the bush, waiting. He knew that gank was coming. It's not like they had vision. Best Turtle walked through lane to make that gank happen here. So like we said, that is that experience, that knowledge of each other coming into play. And now the question is, can Gang 7 leverage that knowledge a little bit better? It feels like it's kind of played them out a little bit in the draft with that early Lissandra pick. Now, can they make that Lissandra pick work somehow? It's got a lot of CC, and since I was got a lot of damage, there is kill threat here.
There's always kill threat. The problem is we just saw the issue. If Steel City Warrior does not have teleport, the Lissandra is always going to be a step and a half behind the Azir, right? And that doesn't bode well when your entire kit for Lissandra is get in early, CC someone to death, and then let your team finish it off.
True. And a lot of that is just the way the push has been coming out. Lissandra is the leader person to leave the lane. The poke always lands first. The minions always get cleared out first here. And that's maybe when you start. If Lissandra can't go to the gank, move the gank to Lissandra. Best Turtle can look for a gank in the mid lane. They're actually doing the Herald right now, and I wanted Mad City to do this, but it is Gang 7 doing it, and they're doing it in the dark. No vision whatsoever. It's a free Herald for them.
I think Steel City also took a little bit of a wider path there, so I don't think Nightingale was going to worry about that at all. He's very happy just farming up. He is going a little bit more poke heavy. He's not going for the on hit just yet, right? You can see, I believe, the Lost Chapter in his pocket. He also went the Electrocute, so really aiming more for just burst damage out right now. Bottom lane, we're seeing multiple members walk down. Javi is right there, but the pinch on 357 might be made. We're going to actually walk out on the side of MCW. 357 needs a little bit of help. Is going to get the jump. Hook goes just a little bit wide. And Turtle jumps in. I'm not sure if that's what he wants to do. The Crescent Guard is there. And he gets right back up. But Steel City Warrior goes in. And that's a huge miscommunication. Does use Glacial Tomb on himself. Is able to stay alive for a little bit longer. But Chaos reigns. And it benefits Mad City Wildcard as they get their support out and take a kill to boot.
And as close as that looked, Orbital, 35701 was fine. He had exhaust the entire time, and he had the Glacial Fissure. He just held it because he knew backup was there, and just so unfortunate. Gang 7, you're playing with your starting roster. It's Mad City Wildcard with the subs, but it doesn't look that way.
It really doesn't, and again, just miscommunication, right? One person goes out, the other people go in. You gotta decide, right? Are you committing? Because we saw it in the bot side, right? The commitment from Best Turtle, X-Ray Goggles, and Havoc was great before. But this time around, it's a little bit rough. We are seeing the teleports being called. This is a 3-on-3, but Axum is much, much stronger. X-Ray Goggles tried to get out with the kill instinct, but isn't going to make it. Now it's a 3-on-3 again, and it's just kills galore. But Hecate is going to pull the mask off and say, watch me here. The follow-up for the rest of the team is there as Gang 7 are looking for a solid sweep.
No way!
But YYC, he's going to get out. Can they finish him off? No! He's alive! He's fully alive and he's running Havoc! Is that going to get him? Oh my god! That was a 4v5 ace for MCW.
35701 disconnected right before that fight. And you can't pause when a fight is breaking out. So they played that through 4v5. That is incredible there. And I still can't believe YYC didn't die. He went into the bush, he dropped the vision, and he turned the corner there, and they just could not reach him. Best Turtle just barely missing that spear. That's going to come back to bite them, because that was ultimately, what was that, a 5-for-1 when all is said and done here. And suddenly, Mad City Wildcard, they're up 3,000 gold here at 12.5 minutes. They're in the driver's seat in a composition that scales better.
I have to correct myself as well. I really, really do, because I don't even think Nightingale was there, right? He roamed in from mid lane down to the bot side so late. So that was just pure coordination from Mad City Wildcard. Now they also get the rightful reward of a second Drake. And that is going to be the Ocean. That is going to be great to start regenerating a little bit of health, give yourself a nice little buffer. And then finally, the Cloud Soul is going to be amazing. Subjugate going to be up much earlier. You know, the Emperor's Divide, all these big ticket ultimates that have long cooldowns are going to get a potential 24 ability haste to be able to use anytime they want.
And for the side of Mad City Wildcard, they don't need the Ocean. The Ocean's not going to help them win harder. They're not going to feel it. But Gang 7's going to feel it because they're already struggling to win these fights. If you can't get the poke down, you can't win those fights. Herald drops into the bot side and fight kicks off.
Oh, it's not really a fight when it just turns into a slaughter. The rest of King 7 are sent through the meat grinder as they dropped Herald and MCW read it like a book. 2-0 and nothing. No plates, nada.
And the placement of the Herald wasn't even bad. I mean, that is normally where you just drop the Herald. The problem is that, like you said, Orbital, they got read like a book, so they couldn't walk it in. Javi was once again waiting there, and though they dropped the Herald, they're going to be the ones losing their turret in the bot lane.
I'm slightly terrified if this is an MCW squad with the substitutes, right?
Yeah.
If they're playing with the substitutes, imagine what they can do with the main roster, right? It's a terrifying thought here, and maybe it's just, the matchup, almost like that Civil War or inter-family rivalry, whatever you want to call it, right? But so far, Mad City Wildcard are putting on an absolute show. Namely, YYC in the bottom lane, 7-2-7, 600 gold bounty on this Varus right now. Only one item in his pocket, but he is absolutely trucking out that damage. And then rest of the lanes, right? 4-1-3 for Axum, Javi 4-1-9. Ridiculous score lines so early on in the game.
And YYC was the one we were a little bit worried about here, Orbital. The fact that Nutty Bars had always been the main carry for Mad City Wildcard. Well, it turns out YYC is a great substitute. He slotted right in here. And when I spoke to Gang 7, they were telling me that, hey, we normally win their scrims. We're expecting to take this pretty easily, maybe a 2-0 sort of thing. Yeah, it's not looking that way right now. Mad City just looks so much more dominant. And my question now for Gang 7 is, okay, you're down 5k gold. Things are looking really, really bad. But it's still pre-20 minutes. You can still make plays right now. I mean, if you look at the items, sure, they're not in a great place, but X-Ray's got the Mythic, Best Turtle's got a Mythic. You can make plays around them. Who's going to step up? Who's going to be their hero to make that amazing play?
They did try and make it in the mid lane. Steel City Warrior was ready, but Nightingale was a bit better. Flash out for the Azir, who is only 1-0-1, right? Hasn't had the opportunities, but Steel City Warrior is going to get jumped on the pillar, going to zone him out. And I am Javi is just going to solo it out. That's just a straight up kill. Now Turtle has to run away. Crescent Guard does knock Javi away, and the blast code to safety is going to work. Glacial Blizzard is going to catch him. Is he going to get more? No, the slow is enough to deter the fight. Hecate wants a piece of the action, but I mean, you got the kill, you got the Lissandra, and that's all you could really ask for.
And you can tell that I think the damage caught Steel City Warrior by surprise there. Frozen Tomb was available, Flash was available, the Frozen Claw was available. None of the escapes were used there. The knock up and into the stun immediately followed by the damage was just too quick here for Steel City Warrior. And this Lissandra pick just isn't working here. Going to the next game, win or lose, Gang 7 can't afford to blind pick this Lissandra like this.
Yeah, not just that. I think we talked about it previously when we always saw Game 7 is, right? Give Steel City Warrior a little bit more of a carry. Give him a chance to really carry the team. But this is going to be Axum getting chased down again. Best Turtle OCE was able to land a slow. That's going to be the Lantern in the play.
OTP.
They're going to try this, but this is a little bit dangerous. Remember, Axum is so strong. The prediction. No, are they going to fall through? No, they have speed. And push them. Nightingale is able to save his top laner. You're wondering what was going to happen with the Azir, and he makes it work. Double kill, potential triple kill while the top lane is falling. MCW are getting everything that they want. Even the Glacial Tomb isn't enough to stop the onslaught. The Emperor takes it home with a little bit of help from Axum, and MCW crush the bottom lane fight.
Orbital, I didn't think North America had a tradition of making turtle soup, but right now that's what it's looking like. I mean, Best Turtle is 1-4-1, and if that's the best turtle Oceania got, I don't know if you've met our turtle in NA here, Wild Turtle, but that's a turtle that's looking good.
Yeah, and you can see it, right? That fight blew the doors wide open. There's an 8k lead in favor of NCW. You saw the gold up there for a second. Pretty much everyone on NCW's side, I think, has at least 1k over their opponent. The only one, of course, is the Braum. 4-3-5-7. A little bit in the dark there. The rest of it, though, he's doing his job. The rest of the team is absolutely crushing it. You can see item-wise, mythics built across the board, working towards their second. For YYC, he's on his third right now. This is a ridiculous pace for NCW, and they don't plan on stopping anytime soon.
Nope, they just go straight for Dragon here. And Dragon Soul isn't even a win condition for Mad City Wildcard. It's just something they're doing to check the boxes at this point here. Like you said, the ability haste, it's nice, and they do have some big ultimates, but they don't really need it. And for Gang 7, they didn't even look at the Dragon Pit. They know it's up. That's not where they want to fight. They have to fight under turrets, and they've got to pray that Mad City overextends, because if you fight anywhere not under a turret, or even worse, under Nightingale's turret now, you're definitely not going to be able to win that. You can't even win with equal numbers, much less with a turret.
Yeah, we saw what happened when they tried to fight with the number advantage, even on the bot side. It didn't go well for them, right? So you're taking a look here, and at this point, what can you do? You are Gang 7, you're sitting in a blind spot, barely any vision to your name. And I mean, what can you do here? Your towers are falling like flies. This is going to be the try again. They're going to go for the all-out one more combo. They do find a few, but that Bird's Divide is there. Crescent Guard knocks everyone back, but they don't have the damage. The combination was perfect, but it just was a little bit too late. They lose 4 and only take 1 to the grave. Mad City Wildcard looking like they don't care what anyone throws at them.
I literally just said, Orbital, don't fight under the turret, and they initiated into it there. I mean, the flank idea was good. You could see how it was working. YYC getting burst out immediately. 35701 was kind of low, and Axum got about half health there. If they do that on open ground, they probably still lose that, but it's kind of close. And if you're the losing team right now, any trade is a good trade if it's equal here. 1 for 1, you take that any day, every day here. But that wasn't a 1 for 1. That was what, a 4 for 1 at the end of things there. So definitely not good for them. Mad City, they're accelerating things, and guess what, Orbital? It's 20 minutes. Baron's up. Time to take it, pack up, go home.
This is YYC's games as well. First one to hit 10,000 gold, and it's showing. He had the same items from before, 2.5. I'm wondering if he's just waiting to straight out buy his next item, because I think that's what it is. Yeah, he can't do too much there, so I think he's maybe 200, 300 away. But again, completely behind. You can see this. This is Gang 7's worst nightmare come to life, and then some. They have to walk, and at this point, even as 4 members, it's still too scary. Baron now started up. They weren't able to get a scout down. This could be the earth-shattering game-ending fight. If a hook goes in, they do find YYC. Is that going to be enough? No, that's going to be that Emperor's Vibe, cutting them off again. The Shurima wards are there, but the Kaisa is able to blow up too. Can they get the fight? Again, Baron still spinning on the other side, but that is the explosion of damage. Javi is able to take out 2, make it 3 in the back line. Kaisa is down, the triple kill for Javi, and the ace once again. Man, G7 put up a tough battle, but Mad City Wildcard are still just too far ahead.
Yeah, I mean, this is game right here. You take this Baron, the death timer is 15 seconds. There's an exposed open inhib, and maybe Mad City can't necessarily end on this push, but Gang 7, I mean, where are you going to go from here now? In that last fight, we saw how much, giving it over to Axum, you saw how much sustained damage Mad City Wildcard have in that fight. Even if you kill YYC, Nightingale's still there. And Javi as well on this Trundle. I mean, you don't think of Trundle as sustained damage, but he really is. He just whack, whack, whack with that club. And your tanks are going to drop. Your squishies are going to drop here. X-Ray and Havoc are trying their best. I mean, look at their KP here. 9 kills for X-Ray. 9 for Havoc here. They're 100% KP. But they need Heket and Steel City Warrior to step up a little bit, do a little bit more damage here.
And it's tough, right? You're looking at the items across the board. Now you're facing off also against 5 members with Baron. That's actually why Axum was waiting for that last little tick, waiting for YYC and 35701 to come back alive. And I mean, this is also partially why Axum straight up dueling. That is 25% of Heket's health. This is not what you want to see, but Axum is now getting jumped on. A little bit of collapse, maybe a little bit of an overextension. Gets flayed out of the rappel, and that is going to be a tough one to swallow. Down goes Axum, and they will take that fight. But again, a noble sacrifice as their mid lane gets completely shredded.
35701 actually delaying the back from Turtle here, and that's actually kind of significant because that is allowing Mad City to look for this inhib. Oh, Javi got left behind.
Yeah, Javi got left, and once again, I mean, what can you really do? Down goes the Thresh, but that's going to be the kill back. He is going to go ahead, pick up 1 Steel City as well. You're fighting 2 massive auto attackers. I'm not sure that's what you want. Emperor's Divide does miss, so that's not going to be the push, but it is enough. The auto attacks are flying fierce. The exhaust goes down, and 357 is able to pick up, I believe, his first kill of the game. He is going to be happy about that one. And I mean, MCW, they're just closing out the last little bit of the base.
They have to be careful. There's a TP being channeled by Heket in the back line here. He's full health, and Varus is kind of squishy. Braum, not much tank here.
Yeah, they're going to give it a shot, but again, the concussive blows are stacking up. Heket is going to be able to walk through that CC, but that's going to be enough damage. Again, YYC is so dang strong. I don't know if you want to challenge this. Yes, you hook the Thresh, but or the Braum, is that really the one that you want? All right, YYC is just going on a rampage. Here comes a little bit of the root into the stasis. He's going to go 35701, is getting shredded very, very quickly. A little bit of a root into the Glacial Tomb, but the auto attack, YYC, so much damage. Oh, is he going to get a little bit of an ace? Tries to finish it off, but Best Turtle OCE is going to not allow it. Meanwhile, Nightingale will finish off the ace, and with the help of Axum, will go ahead and close out this game number 1.
I'm just going to point out right now, Orbital. Best Turtle died the first time fighting YYC and still came back to go for round 2. They're still looking to pack ADAs.
I mean, and you can, right? Heket, he's supposed to be the tankiest member. Can't have it happen. But that is going to be it. 38-14, just shy of 25 minutes. Mad City Wildcard put on a freaking clinic.
Yeah, that was incredibly well played from them. And it's not even just one person popping off. Every single lane did it, right? Axum and Javi getting that top lane rolling. Sure, YYC and 35701 looked a little bit, questionable in the first couple of levels, but they came back huge, right? YYC's damage numbers here, 29,700, highest in the game. To put that in perspective, Turtle plus Heket together barely did 30,000. He and they're the 2 highest on their team. So it's not like I'm picking random numbers here. He almost outdamaged the 2 highest damage dealers from the side of Gang 7. And frankly, Orbital, it looks incredibly one-sided. It looks really good from Mad City Wildcard, but I really do think it came down to the draft. And the mistake that Lissandra, perhaps the misread there, really came back to bite them. Going to game 2, I do not expect to see this one-sided a game still coming out from Mad City Wildcard.
Might not have the same opportunity. They can try the same pressure, but the champions are going to be drastically different. So we'll see what can happen here. Again, we'll go to a very quick break. Give the players a little bit of time to readjust, maybe rethink their game plan for the second game. So please do not go anywhere. We'll be right back with our second game of the evening between Gang 7 and Mad City Wildcard. And we are back here after what was either a really good game number one or just a rough run, depending on who you're a fan of, because it started out back and forth, battles across the rift. And yet at the end of the day, an absolute show from the side of Mad City Wildcard.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, the starting was pretty good. I mean, the analogy that we were talking about Orbital off stream was MCU. We started Avengers, MCU, and then it was all good, right? Like the setup was good, the back and forth was good. You could see them reading each other's play, and then somewhere along the way, it became DC's Suicide Squad. As they kind of had to force the fights. Like they were on a mission they knew they were gonna probably not end well on, but it was their only hope. Sadly, in this version of the Suicide Squad, Amanda Waller decided everybody dies, and she just beat them all. So that's the end of that. That was game one in a nutshell. But Suicide Squad 2 or the Suicide Squad is coming out, and I heard it's good. So can the Suicide Squad here, Gang 7, recover here and save themselves in game 2?
Yeah, and maybe they just need to draft better heroes, right? Okay, that's going to be a little bit too far, I think. But we talked about it, right? The strength of their draft, we saw what they were looking at, and yet it just kind of fell a little bit flat, right? The Xin Zhao never got off the ground. You know, the top lane kind of fell apart with the Mundo and the Camille. Most notably as well, I think Steel City Warrior couldn't do what Aurelia's do, or not Aurelia's, Lissandra's do best, which is push and roam.
Yeah, and a lot of that, I mean, it's just the lane matchup, right? Azir into Lissandra, like we said, Azir gets the right to do whatever they want, pretty much. Now, going into game 2 here, we are getting a side swap. So it is Mad City Wildcard on the blue side. And so far, their ban, they're still going with the Shen Lulu. Because why not? That was what worked for them. And if anything, it's now on Gang 7 who might have to change up their draft a little bit to deny some priority first picks away from Wildcard.
And already you can see the change up, right? Before, I believe it was that that second ban was actually the Diana.
Yeah.
This time around, they go ahead and take away the Aphelios and the Varus, so swapping it up a little bit. Again, the Varus was extremely strong, but yes, there it is, the Camille. That was what I was kind of curious about. Banning that one away, leaving the Xin Zhao open, but instead MCW say, yeah, we know it's up. We don't really care. We're going to stay with the Trumbull. It worked wonders for Javi in game number 1. And now that negates pretty much any tanks that you were planning to run in game 2.
Yeah, I mean, they left the Xin Zhao open. They left it open in game 1. And by picking that Trundle preemptively, they're saying, we dare you. We've already picked your counter here. If you really want to pick that Xin Zhao that badly, we'll give it to you because we don't care. The other pick that interests me that was banned in game 1 was that Irelia. I mean, we talked a little bit about how strong she is, that she is very blindable. You can flex her between 2 lanes as well. She is open and available here, and I'm wondering if Gang 7 picks it up or whether we might get to see Mad City play it here because it was banned against Mad City wildcards.
Yeah, it was banned against them, but again, we saw what happens whenever G7 kind of blind pick, and I'm curious if that's what they're scared of this time as well. Kai'Sa, though, locked in, and we do have to say X-Ray played a pretty good game on Kai'Sa. A lot of great engages and a lot of great follow-ups, but the Viego to fight it out, it was left open in game 1. This time picked in P2 position, going over to Best Turtle.
And I like the Viego pickup a lot more here. I mean, if we think about when the Trundle got picked up, it got picked up as a counter to the Xin Zhao, right? But this time, you know the Trundle is there. Viego has a much better time dueling. You're not that tanky person. You have a bit more mobility. If you don't like the fight, you can always peace out with that Heartseeker to actually just get away with that and or use the Mist to disengage. We are seeing some other changes come through here. I mean, the Varus was banned, so a bit of a change up here, and it will be the Ezreal being picked up here, not for X-ray goggles. The names are unfortunately not switched, but for YYC here. And we're already seeing a very poke-heavy bot lane potentially coming out with that Karma as well.
We haven't seen it before, but we at least specifically for MCW, but we know the power of it, right? A Karma, it was seen as one of the top supports, mids, tops, whatever you want to call it. And now kind of the new up and coming kind of change up support here. Tom Kench being hovered, it was banned away in the second round of bans earlier. Now it's fully locked in, so we do see the Kai'Sa Tom Kench versus the Ezreal Karma.
And I want to remind you that Trundle can be flexed between top and jungle. It doesn't have to go into jungle. It couldn't even be used support. We've seen some support, so I think over in EU with Imperial Mandate here. And Trundle is more than happy to go up against Tom Kench here. Tom Kench might be the River King, but you're only the later troll. The original troll was Trundle here, and he will just shred through that thick skin, will win up that matchup. So despite the Tom Kench pickup here, I'm not fully sold on it, and we might just see the side of MCW here maybe pick up the Xin Zhao in the second round here to deal with that Viego. Xin Zhao is perfectly fine into that particular matchup. Send the Trundle top instead.
And you can see where everyone's focused. Again, the Victor and the Silas are the same from the previous ban cycle, but the Azir coming out. So 3 of the 5 last champions that MCW played are now taken off the table. Of course, the Trundle was still picked up. But you can see G7 very scared of what was played before. And this is going to be a solo lane Tom Kench as the Rakan is picked up here. I've seen some people talking about it. I've seen it played in the top side before. I'm not sure how well it's going to do here.
Yeah, I mean, it depends a lot on the top laner that we do see Mad City Wildcard pick up here. Renekton is considered sort of one of the big counters to that Tom Kench. Like I said, the Trundle handles Tom Kench really well as well. I love it. Okay. Yeah, this is exactly what I was talking about. So the moment they confirm that Tom Kench is going to the top lane, because he can't be flex support, he's just not as efficient there. They send the Trundle top lane, and they're going to give him that matchup. That is a matchup he can absolutely dominate here with. And the question now becomes, what does Steel City Warrior pick up this time? The last time he had to blind the Lissandra. I mean, you wouldn't pick Lissandra into Cassiopeia, to be fair, but you at least get to counter pick now. You know what you're running into, and you don't have to risk where you go, whoops, I picked the wrong champion. I thought you were going something else. You can actually see it here. He's got a really eclectic champion pool, so I'm actually not even sure what on earth Steel City Warrior pick up. Anivia. As an Anivia main, I respect it. It's a good matchup.
See, and I would have said the other because I looked into the matches series before, right? I was like, man, I saw some of these like Xerath coming out every so often. I was like, man, I hope he plays Xerath because I love Xerath as well. But Anivia, the original crowd control champion, coming out here against the Cassiopeia, and a lot of heavy engage, right? The poke plus the engage from Xin Zhao might not be to Anivia's advantage.
Partially, yeah, it's not ideal. I mean, it does mess up Anivia somewhat, but the good news for Anivia in this particular matchup is that there's not a lot of mobility to get out of that Glacial Storm once it does get laid out. Your wall as well is going to trap everybody except the Ezreal. Nobody else has a solid escape, and most importantly, you're picking this for the lane matchup. Steel City Warrior really struggled last game in lane. The CS was fine for Lissandra, but it's not about CS in the mid lane only. A lot of it is about pressure, it's about agency, it's about priority. Who can help out which jungler, especially when we think that the jungle matchup is the most influential matchup. So this time with the Anivia, you have a much more comfortable mid lane matchup. Sure, Cassiopeia gets to gain movement speed as she levels up, but she still has to slither around. And you put a wall, you put Glacial Storm, and you just look away. And you don't have to worry about Petrifying Gaze. Cassiopeia is going to be burning down, and you get the ability to just shove that wave out, go help your jungler while Cassiopeia has to sit there and spit out fang after fang after fang to individually finish off those minions.
Yeah, well, the Cassiopeia, you were talking about, you know, clearing out the minions. Late game, though, it's going to be finishing off the likes of the Tom Kench and the Rakan, which is something that they do have to worry about. And we saw how MCW is able to play. A lot of their wins came off the fact that they were able to coordinate team fights in both early, mid, and late games. So with that in mind, do you feel like this is the same type of squad for Mad City, or do you think this is trying to go in an opposite direction? Do you feel like they're maybe trying to scatter a bit more, maybe play towards that macro siege style?
Yeah, maybe not so much macro siege, but definitely a bit of a scattered composition here. They have strong front to back with the Cassiopeia, with the Ezreal here, but they're not necessarily looking to clump up. And in fact, their style, it's just going to be, we go at you, Xin Zhao initiates, Trundle, you know, tries to split you guys, and then we'll just cut you down with the Ezreal, with the Cassiopeia damage. It's more on Gang 7 in terms of how they want to play into this, right? Because Mad City Warriors, they only have one style, which is we walk at you. Whereas Gang 7, Anivia wants to sit back, wants to set up zones of control. Kai'Sa wants to go in. Viego wants to go in. Rakan wants to go in. So it's a bit of a mismatch in how they are composition, what they want to do. And it's going to be a lot about trigger discipline and patience. Getting the poke down before they engage, or making sure that when they engage here, they have the pick, they have the numbers advantage, and they can burst down a target quickly enough that they can actually engage. If not, if X-Ray Goggles goes in a little bit too early, if Best Turtle goes in a little bit too early, there's no low health target, there's no execute target, then they're going to die and everything falls apart for Gang 7.
Yep, just a lot of question marks, and of course, the champions have been locked in. I would say I do like the draft a little bit better this time. It's a little bit more
Yep.
free forming, able to actually combat some of the early stage aggression. But it's now down to Gang 7 themselves. Can they bounce back from that game one? Can they bounce back from some of those early game mistakes? And only time will tell. So we will be right back after this quick intermission to ensure that the players are ready, as well as the rest of the teams and our production. Of course, we want to give you the best quality broadcast here for the UAL, so please do not go anywhere. We'll be right back with game number 2 between Gang 7 and Mad City Wildcard. And we are here live on the Rift for game number 2, potentially the last game of the series, depending on how Gang 7 and Mad City Wildcard play this one out. Again, game 1, Mad City Wildcard were able to take it in a pretty hefty advantage. This time around, G7 have got to come out with an early game plan, and one of those plans is to just straight up farm mid lane again.
Yeah, I mean, that is a potential option that you could use. To be fair, it wasn't like mid lane was somebody who died a lot last game here. Still see Warrior didn't lose the lane. He just wasn't able to help out the other lanes as much. But overall, I do want to highlight that Mad City Wildcards, they are actually the lower seeded team. They came out of the Cloud Division as the 3rd seed here. And it was Gang 7 who was the 2nd seed from Inferno. So at least in terms of seeding, Gang 7 should be the better team. That hasn't been what the Rift has shown us tonight here, and I'm looking for Gang 7 to surprise me here. I'm not a huge fan of their draft, and I'm waiting to see how they make it work.
Yeah, it's always down to how the players play. We can talk about draft all day long, but it's always down to the players, right? How are the players going to play this one out? How do they aggress? How do they use these champions to what they hope is the highest efficiency possible? To kick things off, both junglers are going to start on their blue buffs. And Best Turtle, OCE, and Javi have both had ups and downs throughout this series. Javi had, honestly, more ups than downs. But with the blue buff start, it's going to be questionable as we see YYC. Oh!
Walked up, but
That
they can even
was
if they walked
bad.
up.
Yeah, they got the poke down, though. So X-Ray coming in with about 75% HP and immediately has to pop the pot. So that's a win?
It's definitely a win. I mean, they've got full control of this bot lane right now. You can see that X-Ray Goggles is struggling to step up in CS, and they have to be so careful for these inner flames in the Karma.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
good.
Wait, they're gonna go for it. X-Ray
Almost.
Goggles is dead.
Oh.
That's a heal, but it doesn't matter, and that's just a kill. X-Ray Goggles might be dead. Is this gonna be a double kill? No, it's not. Okay, Havoc gets out, but that breaks my heart right now.
It broke my brain, Orbital. Ezreal Karma shouldn't be that strong at the level 1. I mean, Karma's doing all the heavy lifting there with the Mantra Q to get the damage down. And normally, when you see that sort of sudden kill, it's usually on the Kai'Sa Rakan. They're the ones with the bigger burst, with the better engage here. It did cost both the flashes as well as the ignite from Mad City Wildcard's bot lane here. But for first blood, and this time on the correct champion, it is on the AD carry. YYC does get it this time. That's worth, and you take those.
100%. And at this point, we get to see a little bit of a trade-off. Last time, Heket was the one that got camped on the top side. In the fog of war, we know Best Turtle is waiting around town to try and pull this off, and they're going to pull the trigger. Axum is going to see the Shroud go out, a little bit of a poke down, and a flash out, a little bit of a knock-up, and it lands. Can they finish it up? Best Turtle is able to get it. Heket plays it perfectly in the top side.
Beautiful CC chain, and this is what Gang 7 needs to do here. They need to find some early lanes to get leads on here, and it worked out perfectly for them in a way, because you start blue side, you want to gank top side, and your lane that kind of messed up was your bot lane. If Heket had messed up the top lane, then it's really bad for them. But as it stands right now, that is a strong lane. You can look to repeat gank, and Axum will start to push out on this Trundle here. I mean, he will want to get some sort of control. He is supposed to be the better matchup here, and Best Turtle can always just revisit this top lane, look for more ganks, try and get this Tahm Kench further ahead.
I just want to point out something that I have not seen. Maybe it's happened in the games that we cast. I just never caught it. But I want to point out something very minute that I think gives YYC a huge advantage. X-Ray came back to lane with an extra pot. That means that he sank two, I believe that's 100 gold total into the early game potions. YYC, when he recalled, he actually opted to sell his potion to be able to pick up the Sheen and the Tier. So that gold disparity between the two ADCs ballooned a little bit more. It's such a minor thing, but I think that just shows how YYC is playing this early game very well.
Yeah, and I mean, it might be minor, but it got him a Sheen.
Yeah.
That Sheen is going to make all the difference here. That's nothing to joke about for an Ezreal here. That is how you win the lane. Mid lane, taking a bit of poke, but top side to gank again, the repeat gank.
All right, this is rude. This is just a little bit of revenge from the early part of game number 1. They're gonna dive it. They just straight up dive under the tower. Best Turtle is gonna get away with the kill. He is going to survive, but now he's on the wrong side. Is anyone there? Yep, Javi. Javi is going to say thank you very much. I will get that kill. And not just that, Javi is still up in that camp count.
Yeah, really, really well played. Mid lane, I believe we are getting a bit of an altercation there. What? How? Cassiopeia has to walk into you. You stun her.
It's Australia. It's Australia. The snake just ate the bird, okay? It's just gone, all right? So Nightingale up 1-0 in the CS as well.
That's unfortunate. I would have loved to see how it happened there. I did see the flash blown from Nightingale, so I'm assuming that you just kind of flashed over the stun there. Great play. And that's the teleport out of Steel City Warrior now to soak up that mid lane. Good play, actually, coming out here from the weak side of the lanes, right? Heket on this Tahm Kench getting a hit, and mid lane Nightingale on this Cassiopeia as well. These are the losing side of the lanes, but for now, Best Turtle looking for bot to try and make something happen here.
Yeah, well, that was the spot there, and 357 is going to get away. The teleport's going to be used. Oh, that is going to be Nightingale giving it a shot, gets the grounding, and they get the kill, the turnaround. At RMC, this is deja vu from game number 1.
Yeah, it's not Axum coming down to the bot lane this time. It's Nightingale, but it doesn't matter. The TP came down. They win that fight. They get an early dragon as well. And this is the difference, Orbital, when you have to use your teleport defensively versus offensively here. Steel City Warrior just couldn't come down because he had to get back to lane and you had to sit there. You couldn't walk down quick enough. Now, the mid lane should have stabilized. Both teleports expended there. There's only one teleport left on the map, and it's on Heket right now. So G7 here, Yang 7 have an opportunity to try and make the cross-map play with the last remaining teleport.
I mean, but what can they do, right? X-Ray is already down a lot of CS. I believe that's about 24 there.
Yeah.
Mid lane, Steel City Warrior is down in terms of gold, has the CS lead, but with the freeze, Nightingale is setting up in the mid lane. Not going to change anytime soon. Where does Heket go, right? Best Turtle has helped the Tahm Kench, but I mean, there's only so much you can do with the Tahm Kench right now.
Yeah, well, or the alternative is you continue capping the top. Turtle's found great success here with Heket, and you can use teleport for your lane as well and just absolutely dominate the lane. For all that we saw the ganks go in, for all that we saw Axum go down twice, Axum's only down 8 CS. That's roughly about a wave, and he's got a cult, so he's definitely going to bounce back just as strong here. They are on a bit of a timer here for Gank7 to make something happen, and you can tell Best Turtle feels that timer. Best Turtle has been looking for ganks almost non-stop here.
Now looking towards that mid. Nightingale is going to get a touch of the Frostbite. Turtle really much more. So spending a little time, and he's caught up at least in that CS department. But now he's going to go for a little bit of a scuttle.
Yeah, I admired the patience there, and I'm a little bit worried. Oh my goodness. It went on to 3 health, and 35701 was right there. Best Turtle might get collapsed on here. He's kind of far up right now, but there's no vision on him.
Yeah, I feel like they probably could have had an inkling of where he's at after that's down. Yeah, and Nightingale does find that spot, and over the wall they go. Steel City Warrior, though, in the bush, able to make it work, and now Best Turtle is going to get out with that Zinzak clone, but they're going to follow it up. Axum is going to try his best, but he gets blown up. Now that's 357 joining the fight, and they'll take that kill. G7 make out pretty well with a kill in a sticky situation.
Yeah, that fight was on a knife's edge there. If either of the flashes had messed up, or either disengages, pardon me, had messed up there, somebody would die. Now, X-Ray Goggles, you're Kaisa, but you're Kaisa who's down. You might beat Ezreal later, but not against a sheened up Ezreal here.
X-Ray? We'll chalk it up to a little of maybe overexcitement because X-Ray had flat heal and killer instinct available.
To be fair, I don't think the heal would have made a difference. X-Ray was unfortunately way too far up. I mean, you look at the item discrepancy, right? Pickaxe versus a Sheen and a Kindle Gem. You're not going to win that trade. And I think a little bit too used to seeing the Kaisers win out on that here. Javi going to walk right into Turtle there.
Well, actually, it was Turtle walking into Javi there. You could see, again, you said it before, camp the top lane. That's G7's win condition, and Javi starting to read that, right? Was up on the top side, made sure the enemy jungler couldn't do anything, and allowing this bot lane, this Ezreal and Karma, to continue bullying out the Kai'Sa and Rakan.
Just don't see that changing anytime soon here, Orbital, right? Like, X-Ray just came
Yeah.
back to the lane. He spent all the money. There's no money left to find. Oh, Steel City Warrior.
Yeah, the things are going to bring out, and Javi is going to have the Crescent Guard up, is going to be able to block most of the damage. But here comes the knock up. Javi dodges out just narrowly, is able to jump to the cannon minion of the lane. So thanks to good lane prep, flash in. Oh, that's going to be Nightingale picking up a kill. Follow through 357 is going to try his best. Gets the egg. They might just die this under tower. It's an egg. Are you really that worried? No, you're not. And that is MCW coming away with the 2-0 fight.
You know, when we talk about smashing eggs into rocks here, it's an idiom for kind of futile work here. But in this particular case, Axum's taking the rock to the egg, and that's just brutal. That was just ugly to watch. And for Steel City Warrior, this is something they can do on repeat here. Flash was blown, so there's no flash available for Steel City Warrior. And I love the fact that Nightingale is using this Petrifying Gaze aggressively, flashing in to get these kills here. Herald is taken, and Heket has backup.
Yeah, this is going to be a 2-on-3 for a little bit of the time being. Axum, I don't think, has the ult, and that's just going to be the swallow. Javi is unfortunately going to fall. He was able to pick up that Rift Herald, so they do have that in pocket. I think that's a price to pay, right? Javi is going to be able to hang on to that one. Bot lane, YYC has picked up 4 plates for himself. Everything swinging in the way of MCW right now.
I'm scared, Orbital. I'm scared for this bot lane right now. When YYC finishes that turret and he gets unleashed across the rest of the map, I don't know that they're ready for this, right? We already see that Steel City Warriors already struggling against the Cassiopeia, and now against the Karma, you're struggling. Against the Ezreal, who's fed, that's not going to work. Divine Sunder completed right now, even for Heket, the one person who is up in the game for Gang 7 here. That is a dangerous person to have to deal with. You're tanky, but Divine Sunder was designed to chew through tanks. So suddenly this Tom Kench, your thick skin ain't as thick as you think.
Yeah, at least it's not in YYC's build and the Ezreal build to outright build a Wit's End as well, or you just cry, right? Like, both of those items combined, you're just like, nah, this sucks, right? They don't work together, please. I promise you, I am not that stupid. Hopefully, I don't know. But, you know, it might not be in his optimized build path, but that's what it feels like, right? YYC could build anything and still obliterate G7. At any twist and turn, that is going to be the second dragon. Going down to MCW, and would you know it? For MCW, for Mad City Wildcard, they get the gift from the Riot Gods themselves. This is... After they drop, they sacrifice those 3 wards specifically to get the Infernal Soul. I'm just letting you know now that's what they prayed for.
I believe it. I mean, everybody knows that wards are the sacrifice of the map, right? Like, they're the minions kind of items here. you last hit them to get special effects, apparently. I don't know anymore. I've lost one ridiculous version. But it is going to be Infernal. I'm excited for that. You've got a Karma, you've got an Ezreal, you've got Poke here. And that's going to make the siege coming through from Mad City Warriors, Mad City Wildcard, pardon me, that much more potent here. And again, Gang 7, I said that they needed to make early moves. They've not come through. Best Turtle is ahead. Heket is ahead here, and you need to bring those advantages elsewhere. Just keeping Heket in the side lane is not going to be enough.
It's one of the to ganking that top side always feels like, right? If it's heavy split pusher, you're really not going to see any advantage to that. It's like, hey, I'm ganking a Scion. How much value are you really getting out of that, right? Like, how are you actually going to, while the enemy team is running through the rest of the lanes? Well, this might be the option here that is going to be Heket using the ultimate, trying to throw Axum in the back line, but the subjugate is going to keep Axum very, very... And the deny of the knockup. Axum showing off the mechanical prowess.
That pillar right now is looking like the most troll part of Trundle's kit, because it's definitely messed up a lot of things. I mean, remember back to the last game when it was Javi playing the Trundle, that pillar messed up Steel City Warrior. Now it's keeping Axum alive against Heket here, and Axum isn't at his breakpoint. He's not at the items where he really starts to destroy the Tom Catch. As I say that, Divine Sunder comes through. Never mind, I retract my statement. He is ready to start fighting this Tom Kench here. Heket has had it easy till now. Now is when things are going to get hard for this Tom Kench. And if they start losing their one winning lane, then Gang 7 it might just be a repeat of game 1 where they just struggle to try and find any avenue to try and play through.
Yeah, I mean, this mid lane is absolutely getting bullied down. YYC 357 have rotated in with the Cassiopeia going bot. And the True Shot Barrage is Steel City Warrior down to about 70 HP there. He is not allowed to recall safely, and that should be the mid lane tower, the second tower for MCW going down.
Yeah, X-Ray Goggles can't defend this. No, I think it probably is right now. It's not on this wave, the next year. X-Ray Goggles is sitting on a Noon Quiver and Pickaxe against an Ezreal who has Ionian Boots completed as well as Divine Sunray. You can't survive that siege right now. It's only Anivia who can do it, and Best Turtle needs to start finding some ganks. I mean, that mid lane was kind of overextended. Maybe you could punish that. He's looking topside once again. Axum doesn't know. There is a kill potential here.
Yeah, but the recall's coming through, and I mean, with the back off at Axum, it's hard to tell, right? And honestly, this is the desperation call. It's probably the right call, right? That's how much I hate to say that. Ganking the top side is probably their best opportunity to make anything happen, but that shows how futile it is right now, because ganking that lane really won't give you any opportunity. That tower by Axum's side is still very, very healthy.
Yeah, for all that they ganked Axum early, they couldn't get the damage down. And Tom Kench is not known as a turret destroyer necessarily. Trundle certainly is, though. And Herald is coming up in 1 minute here. If Mad City Wildcard get their hands on it, it pretty much guarantees them a turret at this point. And not to mention Dragon stacking, right? Last game we said Cloud Soul, not really a win con for a team. It's a win harder style Soul. This time, Inferno Soul, that is a win con. If they do get their hands on it, that's going to give them all the damage they need to win out sieges, to win out neutral objective fights, to get Baron.
All right, well, this is going to be Best Turtle giving it a shot on the support and can't do it.
Wow.
357 is allowed to walk out without burning a single summoner spell. And if you're a jungler that's 3-3-1, that feels almost insulting.
Yeah, to be fair to Turtle, though, it's the right call. They had no vision. And I think that's something worth pointing out right now. Bot side belongs completely to Mad City Wildcard. There's no wards here for Gang 7. So despite the fact that, oh, great, I found a support. Great, I chunked 40% of their health. You don't know who else is going to show up. They didn't have enough information here. They do, however, have a ton of vision top side of the map. So if Gang 7 want to make a play for this Herald here, they can. I just don't know if it's worth trading Soul Point for Herald.
Well, what they are going to find out is that probably everyone's inside of that bush. Yes, Steel City Warrior gets found. 4 people are sitting in there. That is a great mantra Q, very sorry. 357, they're going to chance it again with Javi in the front line. And with a 4-on-4 possibly occurring, Axum and Hecate both ready to teleport in. It looks like so far MCW have complete control and vision, and G7 rightfully have to back away.
If we look at both these mid laners here, Orbital, the Anivia and the Cassiopeia, both of them are mid laners who want to be in control of the zone. They want to be at the pit first and control the entry points. Anivia with that Glacial Storm, with that the Frozen Wall there, the Crystallize, whereas Cassiopeia with the Miasma. So the fact that Gang 7 weren't in position, were not able to get the inside track, instantly meant that they don't have a good way to get in there. Anivia cannot aggress. You set up that Glacial Storm and people need to run into it. You don't get to reset it all that frequently. And if it does, it takes time for it to fully grow and do maximum damage. So they just, yeah, they did the right call. They backed off, but they're going to lose both Dragon and Herald for that play.
Yeah, this is what feels like a slow bleed out at this point, right? G7 are kind of losing all over the map. Javi picks up the second Rift Herald of this game, and you can see it in the gold disadvantages, right? Top lane, about 200 difference, which isn't bad, but then you look at that mid lane and at that ADC role, once again, YYC completely dominating the ADC matchup. Now we're going to see a little gank on the top side. They're going to give it a shot. Now everyone comes in. That's going to be a little bit of a knockup, but they do get 2. Can the teleports come in time? Steel City Warrior is able to reach there first, but they're all clumped together. Look at Axum, though, standing alive for so long. Two-shot barrage against everyone, and that is going to be it. G7 health bars are melted. The egg is cooked on the back lines. X-Ray getting bitten on. That's gonna be a triple kill for Nightingale. Let that man get a quadra. Under the tower they go. He gets it, and he gets out. Oh my gosh, I can't even say it. Cassiopeia comes away with the quadra kill. Nightingale coming in. is able to go 6-0-3 to cap off an ace for MCW.
Now that Orbital is a smooth criminal, getting in all the way out the other end. Magi Soul Stealer picked up now on this back, and why not? You're 6-0-3. You haven't died a single time here, and I don't know if Gang 7 can actually kill you with all the peel that you have here. So well played from the side of Mad City. And you said it was a slow bleed, Orbital? No, it's a hemorrhage. They're dying right now. They're bleeding out on the floor. Somebody get these guys a doctor.
I just want to point out, if they get this 20-minute Baron, this is going to be the harshest push ever from MCW, right? Because they have the Rift Herald plus Baroned up minions and a Dragon to boot coming up in 2.5 minutes. This is... He is coming in through the mid lane, but it's already down to like 1k. They're gonna have to go for the steal. They can't find it, and this is all they want. Heck is now inside of the pit. This is gonna be a full 5-on-5 fight. A little bit of split. YYC on the back end. You're seeing it right there. The pit is popping off though. They're gonna try and ground down Tom Catch, but X-Ray is a little bit too close. Unfortunately, he stands still. That turtle is now gonna fall as well, and they are just getting crushed. Flash for flash. 357 predicts it, and they're gonna lay the last couple things straight into the bird's back. Havoc sprinting away for his life. And MCW, with everyone fully healthy, Baroned up, and the Rift Herald to boot, they are going to shove down mid lane and look to end the game even faster than game number 1.
Shelly being dropped as well, Orbital. Forget the doctor. These guys need an Undertaker. This is... He said it's the harshest push. No kidding. Baron buff with Shelly here. Do we get to see her dance?
Yeah, this could also... We could also see Shelly dance with some of the most health that we have ever seen in the game. No, it's going to take one charge. Everyone is now back up. NCW are going to have to fight under the tower. They are.
Shelly.
Listen, you're trying to save Shelly. That's the main goal here. Save Shelly. No, Shelly goes down. No, we don't get it. Now it's just revenge. Revenge for Shelly. Kill them all. They want to get the last few kills. And they do. Mad City wildcard in 22 minutes, 19-5, are going to go ahead and move on to the quarterfinals.
A 2-0 was predicted tonight, Orbital. A 2-0 was predicted, but not this way. It was supposed to be the Gang 7 2-0. Mad City wildcard looked amazing. The way they just pulled that off. And I think, is this our fastest series that we've had so far? It feels incredibly one-sided here. And it's not even that Gang 7 made bad moves in game. Their draft, okay, fine. The draft slightly questionable, but once they get in the game, they did try and play to the right sides of the map, right? Like Hecate, they got Hecate go in. They kept going back for the ganks. That's fine. That's well. It just felt like Mad City wildcard were reading them. Like they knew exactly where to send Javi. It's like, oh, Turtle's coming. We can win this fight. Javi sitting in the bush, ready to go for the counter gang. Oh, we can't win this fight against Best Turtle. He's 3-0 right now. He's up ahead in the game. No problem. Javi will go wherever Best Turtle isn't. Best Turtle shows top. We kill Still City Warrior. We see Best Turtle top again. We kill X-Ray Goggles. It doesn't matter. Just wherever you want, that's where we'll be.
Yeah, and not just that, even the individual lane prowess came out here, right? Bottom lane, I really want to point out YYC and 35701. These two specifically preyed on what I feel are minute, I want to say conditioned actions by some players. Some players have innate little habits that they like to do, maybe take a poor trade, maybe try for some of these fights, and they hit it. You know, X-Ray took a bad fight at the beginning. The punishment never let up. That is exactly what you need to do and exactly what we want to see from a team that is moving on to the quarterfinals, trying to show up and show off a bit here. So congratulations, the entirety of this squad. Of course, my camera can't even handle the action because that was a sub total 50-minute series. So I just want to point that out. So big question to you, RMC. Looking at this team overall, I know we had some substitutions, but I mean, if you had to pick one that other teams should watch out for the rest of the playoff series, who would it be?
Okay, so my most valuable...
Yeah, unfortunately, I think we lost RMC. He was so excited. He was so excited to say who it was. All right, let's hear it again. Who was it?
Okay, most valuable pick? Trundle. It's not even a player. It's a champion at this point. Like, the Trundle pick is so good. And I expect to see teams either find an answer to it or ban it. But more realistically, if we're talking about players here, it's a rough one. Because actually, both the subs who came in tonight, I think, were huge performers for the team. YYC just looked so good in terms of being able to put out the damage. The Varus drew a ban in game 2. But I think maybe I'm a little biased, but you killed the Anivia really, really well. I'm gonna give it to Nightingale because the Azir game 1 was the crowning piece of the draft, and game 2 that Cassiopeia. I just can't forget that quadra kill. Going in one end, coming out the other so smoothly, under a turret, getting all of it there. And the flash forward petrifying gaze to catch 3 members. So good. It's my MVP. I don't know if we're going to see Nightingale next week because they're a sub, but they impressed me tonight.
Yeah, and you can't doubt it at all. Again, the entirety of the team stepped up. The substitutes stepped up. Everyone did to take out Gang 7. And no hate over to Gang 7. They tried their best, but unfortunately, the better team won this time. So congratulations. 2-0 to Mad City Wildcard. They'll go up and face off against, I believe, the winner between Florida Fusion and MG Eclipse. So we'll have to watch and see who comes out on that one. But again, I think the fastest series time that we've seen so far, sub 50 minutes total game time. Very, very nice job. And that will be it for our UAL broadcast here tonight. Thank you so much for tuning in. Once again, my name is Orbital. With me was Random Minion Caster. And on production, KTAD bringing us this awesome show. Thank you so much. Again, thank you so much for tuning in and have a fantastic evening.